Aside from bolstering our future fighting force, allowing transgender individuals to enlist is in line with principles of freedom.
Americans who want to serve and can meet our standards should be afforded the opportunity to compete to do so.
It will take a year to change the policy, but Senate Armed Services Chairman John McCain told Fox News he wants to talk to commanders about what it will take.
I'm talking about the physical costs of implementing some of these changes.
McCain says he intends to hold hearings on the matter as well, Lisa.
Thanks, Gernal. 2 days after the triple suicide attack in Turkey, reassurance from the Homeland Security Chief about U.S. airport security.
Since the Brussels attack in March, our TSA Viper teams have been more visible at airports and at transit centers generally.
Secretary Jay Johnson also urging the public to be vigilant at public events this holiday weekend, but not to curtail any plans. Turkish officials say those 3 suicide attackers who killed at least 44 people at Istanbul's airport on Tuesday were not from Turkey. They were from Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Raids in Istanbul rounding up over a dozen people with suspected ties to the attackers. 9 others suspected of links to ISIS have been detained. Donald Trump back in New Hampshire, which gave him his first win in the primaries.
All of my life I watch politics, and New Hampshire has that special ring to it. And also for the people of New Hampshire, you know, there's big movement to move you to the back of the pack. Trump wins, that's not happening. I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you that.
Speaking moments ago in Manchester, Wall Street rallies again, the Dow up 235 at the bell. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
QL1, this is Control, checking in to see how excited you are for launch. Over? Well, actually, Control, I'm kind of bored. I think you cut out, QL1. It sounded like you said you were bored. That's affirmative, Control. You're about to travel 17,000 miles per hour through Earth's atmosphere, and you're bored? It just doesn't sound that exciting after using Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. I was able to get a completely online custom mortgage approval in minutes. All right, you cut out for sure this time. Did you say I can get a mortgage approval in minutes? That's right, Control. Minutes. Whether you're purchasing a new house or refinancing your existing home, Rocket Mortgage securely pulls your pay stubs and bank statements to build you a custom mortgage solution so you get exactly what you want. Wow, that is exciting. Yep, definitely better than months of dehydrated ice cream and powdered orange drink.
3, 2, 1.
Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket.
Visit for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
American contractor now formally charged with rape and murder in Japan, where he works at a U.S. airbase.
Former U.S. Marine Kenneth Shinzato charged with the rape and murder of a young woman on Okinawa in a case that has led to a spike in anti-U.S. tensions here. Protesters denouncing what they see as high crime rates that come with Japan having to host U.S. military bases. In fact, U.S. commanders here say crime levels are low, and when offences occur, they respond. After this incident, they imposed a curfew and a no partying rule for troops in Okinawa. There'll be no July 4th fireworks on bases here this year. In Tokyo, Alistair Wanklin, Fox News.
Police in New Jersey now say a high school student who struck and killed her district's school superintendent and his dog while he was jogging was talking on her cell phone at the time. Mercer County prosecutors charging the girl, who's now 18, with death by auto and leaving the scene of an accident. She was 17 at the time in April and charged as a juvenile, also receiving citations for improper use of a cell phone. Californians are on their 5th year of drought, which continues to fuel wildfires. That's not the only danger.
Some animal control experts and fire officials here in California get more calls during the summertime to come handle rattlesnakes. Jason Gilroy with Southern California Snake Removal is booked for the next month and a half to build fencing around people's property lines to keep snakes out, especially around homes with pools.
They're just like coming out of their areas and they're basically braving it, coming down onto people's properties just to get that water and then leave again. They're just working their way towards people because that's where the life is, because where they live, there's no more streams, there's no more puddles of water, there's no more drinking sources.
He says getting bitten by a snake is extremely expensive, and hospital bills, including anti-venom medication, can run people well over $100,000. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Again, Wall Street, third big rally in a row, the Dow closing up 235. I'm Mr. Brady, Fox News Radio.
Yeah, make that recovery, Dow.
Economy and stuff.
We
lost
a lot of money this week.
Stupid Britons.
Man.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, low of 62. Could get some showers into tomorrow morning. High 77 tomorrow. Should clear up. Low of 52. Saturday, mostly sunny. High 77. Low of 57. A lot of rain and thunderstorms over your 4th of July weekend. Right now, mostly sunny. 77 in Champaign-Urbana.
The Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Lonte, Jeremy Warner. It is one of those short shows. Thanks to the St. Louis Cardinals and Kansas City Royals. They seem to be helping each other out. Help your neighbor out, I guess. Win one, lose one, win one. And so it's the Cardinals' turn tonight to get a victory, so you will hear it here on ESPN Radio 93.5. We're off about 5:20. The Cardinals are bugging me lately.
You got some thoughts?
I've got some thoughts on these St. Louis Cardinals and their one-run losses. It's starting to worry me.
We'll talk about that. I got some White Sox thoughts. I was ready to be positive today.
Right.
James Shields gets a win yesterday.
Wow.
A quality start out of James Shields.
I saw that, and I'm like, we've got our lead for the show tomorrow afternoon.
James Shields with a quality start. It was nice to see, even with swing and miss stuff against a terrible Twins team. But the White Sox, they took a 5-2 lead on the Twins, but it's now 5-4.
Okay.
Going into the bottom of the 6th. But this would be a nice third straight series win for the White Sox. Tim Anderson's been great so far. Matt Davidson gets a call up, a prospect the White Sox traded for a couple years ago. We got a lot of that to talk about. But we also got NBA free agency starting tonight.
Okay.
And I thought of this. Andrew Luck signs that $87 million.
We hardly talked about that yesterday.
Guaranteed deal. And everybody goes, well, he's the most paid player in the NFL. He's just the next guy to get paid.
Absolutely. Let's be honest.
He's the next quarterback to get paid. The NFL is making, $9 billion, $10 billion a year?
Ridiculous.
I always find it interesting.
I don't mean ridiculous. That's awesome. That's great that they are.
I always find it interesting that when we have these conversations, people are like, well, athletes get paid too much. Well, listen, there's only so many people who can do what they do.
Sure.
And help the NFL make $10 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you rather the money go to millionaire athletes or to billionaire owners?
Right.
I think they should all get their even share.
Exactly.
But the one thing I think about with the NFL is you have NBA free agency starting tonight. And Andrew Luck, who plays the most necessary position, and he could be, he was 2 years ago one of the top 5 players at his position.
Yeah.
And he's young, and I think he's only going to get better. I think he'll be good as long as those people around him are good. He gets $87 million guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Tonight, Nicholas Batum, who's a good NBA player, but far from one of the elite ones,
right,
is going to make $90 million guaranteed over the next 4 years.
Wow.
Right? Something like that.
That's crazy.
What I keep coming back to is, remember that lockout the NFL had?
That's true.
The NFL Players Association stinks at their jobs.
Right, exactly. They gave in.
The NFL makes more money than any other league, yet the NFL players have the worst contracts. They're not guaranteed, right? They can get cut at any time. Yes, you get your guaranteed money.
Sure.
But you better cash in when you can in the NFL. I know injuries are a risk, more so than even Major League Baseball and NBA, but that's even considered in those contracts.
Sure.
But the NFL contract should be much higher. It
really should be.
I know there's more players to be played.
Well, right, that's true.
But the top tier guys, I'd play baseball and basketball if you're good at all of them, right?
Well, and you have to factor in a couple of things, and I assume the NFL. To even add more to the point, I assume, and I don't know, I don't have the stats in front of me with the NBA and Major League Baseball and the NFL, but you have a shorter shelf life, I would assume, in the NFL, just because of the injury situation. Now, what helps the NFL in that regard is you've got, 55 guys on a roster, so at least you've got a shot of making a roster, where in the NBA you've got, 12 or 13, maybe 14, Major League Baseball's 25. But
there are all those minor leaguers that make money playing baseball.
It is true that, if you're the GM of an NFL team compared to an NBA guy, if you're an NBA GM, you're figuring out 13 salaries. If you're an NFL guy, you're figuring out 55. But it's still true. You are compared to I don't know what the NBA
the elite guys versus the elite guys.
That's correct.
When it comes to baseball, basketball, and football. The football guys don't. Drew Brees, he gets paid $20 million a year.
Sure.
But if this were like a true open market, where the NFLPA had the salary cap and all that compared to the NBA, those guys should be making 50.
Right, exactly. Right? And with going out every Sunday, and we hear it from a guy like Fred Wakefield, who retired however many years ago, and to this day, he says he has shoulder issues. He wakes up sometimes and his leg won't move, or he has to like pop it into place. I mean, maybe I'm making up injuries for Fred, but you hear that a lot.
Fred's a Frankenstein, by the way.
Exactly right. I mean, you hear that. You hear these war stories, and not that you can't get the pounding in the Major League Baseball or the NBA, but certainly those guys, I don't think the rest of their lives are hampered with this much injury.
It's just kind of my thought, because there's going to be so many people saying NBA guys, they get paid too much, whatever. And even heard it on Rousseau and Cannell today, like teachers should be paid more. Listen, I love what teachers do.
Amen.
But there are so many people who can replace you.
Yeah, exactly.
There's not many people who can replace Andrew Luck or these NBA players. That's what it is. It's the market. It's the open market. It's what our country's all about, right?
Yep.
But the NFL, their union, just hasn't done as good of a job as Major League Baseball is phenomenal.
They are.
What they did in '94. Is they took that short-term hit and look what baseball is now.
And they lost fans.
And NBA, they locked out, right?
Yes.
They locked out and they missed games, but they said in the long run this is going to help us and these players in the game, and it did.
It did.
The NFL players, they didn't hold out.
No, they didn't. And it is funny when you say that, because I remember my dad was a huge baseball fan. Huge. We used to go to 9 to 12 Cardinals games a year. He loved baseball. He loved talking baseball. And this is in a generation where growing up, we didn't have all the games on every night.
Sure.
He would have watched a game every night if he would have had it like we have it now.
And if you don't like them getting paid that much, don't watch them.
Don't watch, right? Exactly. Well, yeah, as I pay my next DirecTV bill, and it's got the NFL ticket over 8 month span that I'm helping to pay for Andrew Luck's salary. And I'm fine to do that because I love those 17 Sundays every year. But it is true but when they had their last lockout baseball, I remember my dad saying, if they do this, I'm done. I'm not watching baseball anymore. And you know what? He paid attention to it, but not like he did.
Yeah.
And they
look
lost.
At Montreal.
Right.
Montreal lost a franchise.
They lost
because
a franchise. I mean, so they lost a lot of fans, but I do feel like baseball is kind of making a resurgence.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think?
Well, nationally, it's amazing because there are certain... it has become a niche sport.
Agree.
It has become a niche sport in this country in that it's a regional sport and MLB Network. Like, that's where you go. ESPN, they get the ratings when they talk NFL and NBA. Fox Sports, they talk NFL, NBA. That's what drives ratings.
It really is.
Nationally. Yep. But when it's regional, I mean, think of where we are. Baseball, I think, is king where we are.
Oh, totally.
Right?
Totally.
And you look at all these regional sports deals, it's baseball. And I think a lot of baseball fans get angry when they listen to Mike and Mike or Dan Patrick Show or even Colin Cowherd, all these they don't talk a lot of baseball.
They don't.
They're not very interested in it because it doesn't drive a lot of big ratings. But when you get local, baseball is still huge. And MLB Network does a phenomenal job.
Yes, they do.
For any baseball fans. Obviously, they have something in the game.
Well, right. I mean, and you look even in a market like St. Louis when they had the Rams, it's not even close with the Rams and Blues compared to Cardinals talk. It's not even close. I mean, it's probably 85 or 90 to 10% for those other two, Blues and Rams. If you really broke it down, even us in 5 years, we've always commented whenever we talk NFL, NBA, it generates interest like with tweets and calls, but when we talk baseball, that's what really fires up where we live right here. And that's fine. I mean, that's absolutely, there's nothing wrong with that.
Especially with the Cubs and what they're doing and how it's bothering the Cardinals fans out there.
No doubt.
How the Cardinals being good bothered Cubs fans out there. It always helps.
Well, and we have it's kind of a special area where we live because of that.
The Mason-Dixon line of that rivalry.
Exactly. And you think about New York and Boston in that rivalry, and I know there's others. There's, the Giants and the Dodgers. That's a great rivalry. And I don't know which is best. I'm not going to get into that argument, but Cardinals Cubs is certainly one of the top three, if not the best, and we are right in the middle of it.
Pretty awesome
that's
right
pretty
now.
Cool to know that in any town you go to around this area, there's going to be 50% Cubs, 50% Cardinals, well, maybe 49, 2% Sox.
Yeah, 2%.
Is that about right?
We are the 2%ers.
And you ride that chariot.
We do have some MLB trades today.
What?
Yeah, Fernando Rodney, the Padres closer, has been traded to the Marlins. The Marlins see an opening.
They do.
In that National League, and it's because there are two teams banged up right now. The Mets, their pitching staff is not as good as last year.
It's scary.
Those innings have accrued.
Yes.
And it's taken a toll, it seems like, on Matt Harvey. Jacob deGrom's been okay, but not himself. Syndergaard's banged up a little bit right now.
And Bartolo, he just moves on, doesn't he?
Bartolo's fine. I mean, it's just... amoebus kind of character.
He just goes in. He just goes out, eats his steak, a la Babe Ruth, drinks his beer, and he comes out and he goes, "Hey, it's the 5th day. You need me to start?
I'll give you 6 innings.
Right.
You got 6 innings out of me." But the Mets are banged up.
They really are.
And now the Dodgers.
Right.
Clayton Kershaw had an epidural.
Ooh.
My wife's going to get one of those in a month and a half, right?
Gene had 2 of those.
Right? I mean, yeah, that long needle that goes into your back. The Luol Deng had this a couple of years ago.
The only thing I couldn't watch through that whole pregnancy. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm not going to sit there and see you put a needle in.
You can see the baby coming out.
Yeah, I was fine with that.
Did you take a peek?
Oh, well, we had C-section twice.
Okay, C-section.
Yeah, so it was one of those where I saw, like, organs.
Did you see that? Did you take a peek at that?
I was down by Jean. I was by her. I was giving moral support while she was basically passed out.
Right.
I'm just like, and then there's this little, like, whatever it is in front of me, and every once in a while I look over, I'm like, I think I see your kidney. I think I see your liver.
I saw my buddy at our baby shower the other day, and he goes, "Yeah, I accidentally looked down and I saw like the cut and everything." He goes, "Not good."
No, it's not. And I've never been bothered by blood or anything, but it was just like
that's real. That's my wife.
That's correct. I mean, and that's
and
really,
my kid coming out of that.
It's such a weird feeling. It's like she is getting slaughtered here to be able to have our baby, and then we as the male sit there and go, "Boy, we did a lot of work for this."
This feels like even. Like 50-50.
Yeah, I think things right now seem to be evening up.
Finally. Oh, when they go home, they got to breastfeed them.
Oh, okay.
I'll stand over here. You need some water?
Yeah, right. You need to warm up your coffee?
Did my job. Did my job.
Here, let me go change his diaper real quick.
Anyway.
Right, we got off topic.
Clayton Kershaw.
It's summer.
This scares me. Like, I'm not even a Dodgers fan. And I'm scared.
Anything to do with the back.
A back injury for Clayton Kershaw, and we got our Mettler Center Physical Therapy at 3:50 today. We'll talk with Jeff Schroeder, doctor of physical therapy, about what he would need for an epidural. The Dodgers are being really quiet on this, but they traded for Bud Cy Norris today.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, the Dodgers trade for Bud Norris today. They've already called up Julio Urias. They've called up the kid out of Bloomington yesterday. I can't remember his name. Tucker.
Okay.
But they called him up yesterday. So there's some scares here. Kershaw, how long could he be out? And for me, I always think of, is this what ends this historic run?
Oh, man.
Like, my mind immediately jumps to that and goes,
it does.
Is this his Sandy Koufax moment? Is this his quick end of the Koufax moment?
Wow, that scares me that you even say that.
Right.
And it's true, because Koufax had how many years? 8? 5?
But he had, 4 or 5 healthy?
4 or 5 healthy, and if that happened to Kershaw, that would
shoulder
be
injuries.
Just unfortunate to the rest of the baseball fans.
Sucks for everybody.
Everybody. But that, hey, you know what? It's scary.
Brock Stewart. Out of Bloomington had his first start yesterday. Did give up 5 runs, but had 7 strikeouts and had 1 homer that really hurt him.
That's cool. I didn't realize that for him. But yeah, that's scary for Kershaw. Otherwise, he's had a fairly healthy career, hasn't he?
Yes.
So that's one of those where all of a sudden this happens, and now we'll see what happens. And certainly when you think big picture here, I'm going to go macro carp on you. When you think big picture and the Dodgers, let's say, make the playoffs, now all of a sudden, instead of the best pitcher in baseball throwing game 1 and 5 of a short, or even the wild card game, now all of a sudden you go to number 2.
You take Kershaw out of that team, though?
It's ordinary.
Right. I mean, the Dodgers right now are 43-37. And Clayton Kershaw is what, 11-2?
Wow. Yeah, that's huge. I mean, that just makes all the difference.
11-2 with a 1.79 ERA. You take him out there and you put a okay pitcher. Bud Norris. You put Bud Norris in there, you're under 500.
Exactly.
You're an under 500
He's going to go 500. I mean, he'll beat the Cardinals, and then other than that, he won't beat anybody else. I mean, that's scary. Yeah. And he's one guy, Kershaw. That's why he's MVP guy. That's why he's Cy Young guy. That's how much he means to his team.
He's the best pitcher I've ever seen.
Absolutely. It's
longevity, we don't know. Right. Can't compare him to Randy Johnson, Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens. But in this run, this is Pedro. Mm-hmm. I mean, Pedro is probably the most dominating pitcher that I've seen. But Kershaw is the most dominating pitcher I've ever seen.
It is scary with the back injury stuff. And again, we're going to do that with our Mettler Center Physical Injury Therapy Injury Report today. But like Anthony Rizzo, kind of dealing with that. But then he goes and hits an inside the park grand slam, or home run or whatever. Yeah. It's like, what? Yeah. So I mean, that's dangerous. We all know. Everybody that's listening has had that minor tweak of the back, and it puts you down.
Would you rather have a back or shoulder if you're a pitcher?
Oh,
probably back.
Probably, yeah.
It just depends on the severity of the back.
I think with the shoulder, I mean, you can do surgery on a back. That just sounds more abrasive than just shoulder surgery that you're back a year later.
So the White Sox are up 5-4. We'll get to your Cardinals thoughts after the break. The White Sox up 5-4 on the Twins. They're going for their third straight series win, trying to get over 500 here. Matt Davidson called up today. He's having a good year in AAA. 268, 10 homers, 349 OBP. This is who they traded Addison Reed, their closer, for a couple years ago. One of Rick Hahn's first big moves as GM. The previous 2 years, he hit 203 and 199. Combined for 43 homers those years. But he's gotten that average up to 268 this year. He had a RBI today. So it'll be interesting to see if they put him at DH, what they do with him. But Tim Anderson, in his first 19 games at shortstop, he has a 310 average, 10 multi-hit games
that's
in his
huge.
First 19. The thing is, he doesn't walk. Until today. He had his first walk in 83 Major League at-bats.
His first walk?
He struck out 27 times. He does strike out a lot, doesn't walk, but he makes phenomenal contact. He's a really good athlete and a pretty good defender so far, and the White Sox have scored runs ever since he's come up and been their leadoff guy. Todd Frazier, tied for the Major League lead, hit his 23rd home run of the year this year.
That's cool.
I saw this from RightSox.com. 13 of Frazier's home runs have tied or given the Sox the lead.
Clutch. Hashtag clutch. Hashtag unholiday.
The last 14 White Sox home runs have been solo shots.
Oh, well, that's
now they're hitting a bunch. If you hit a bunch, that's great.
That's not going to win a lot of games. You got to have guys on. Those solo shots don't, even the pitcher doesn't care about those. You know, even the pitcher just sits there and goes, all right, kudos to you.
I'd rather do that than walk.
Correct. I'm tipping my hat to you. That's one run. Let's move on. It's getting guys on base, and that's what the Cubs have tried to get better at and have gotten better at, and that's why a guy like Jason Hayward is so important to that lineup. And if he gets going, I keep thinking he is going to get going, and I promise you, Cubs fans, he kind of did the same thing with the Cardinals, although I think at this point of the season with the Cardinals last year, he had started to get going. If he does, that's what's huge about Hayward. He'll get on base, and then when those homers come, they're 2- and 3-run shots.
If you want to weigh in, Lon's got his Cardinals thoughts coming up. Scout released their first 2018 Scout 100 rankings for football. The top in-state prospect, his name will be familiar to people. We'll talk about that coming up as well. And a former Illini impressing early in his NFL career. We'll talk about that. 359-2255 if you want to weigh in on the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. The phone lines are open today. You can text us on the Cheap Hour text line as well, 359-2255. RPK just texted in. They forgot me in the hallway when they started my wife's emergency C-section.
Oh, no.
When they came to get me, I walked in to see her opened up. I felt like I was in a war zone hospital, minus the artillery going off around us. There's no coming back from that site, man.
We, and I mean us, guys, we talk like it's the worst thing in the world.
Right, like we're sitting there like, feel sorry for us.
Right. You're not the one I'm with you. I'm with you.
This is why God chose us not to have birth.
That's why
we can't handle it.
We can't.
You guys are so much better than us.
We get a minor cold, and the
we
world
are the biggest whiners.
The world has ended.
We are the biggest whiners in the world.
Can you make me chicken noodle soup?
I don't feel good.
I don't feel well. Can you turn the TV
now,
on?
Is that our mother's fault?
Yes.
For mothering us?
Absolutely. It all comes back to the female here. It's the mom that did it to us.
Find a way to blame it on them.
Correct. They trained us that way.
You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. I tweet at Jay Werner Scout.
At Lonte ESPN. See you.
You can download the WSJK app. Listen to us anywhere in the world on your smartphone. Get the podcast, ESPNCU.com, or find us on iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. Watch us live on YouTube. Just search Tay and J Show. Nathan DeSutter on updates today, and Brendan Dworzinski is our intern. We're going to do this a little bit. I know, and it's getting to that slow summertime.
It is.
But we just decided no guests today.
Yeah.
We're going to have a more free-flowing conversation.
Awesome.
But we're going to allow you guys.
We're going to talk C-sections.
Yes. So you know, this summer talk, it's
right.
real good.
Well, we're getting you up to speed here, Jeremy, so get ready for everything.
But we are going to have a little bit of a listener-submitted topics.
Okay.
Like if you got something you want us to talk about, we'll pick out some of the best ones. We got a couple good ones on Twitter. You can do that at J Werner Scout, or you can text us at 217-359-2255.
And Cliff and Urbana, just stop.
He's already got a good one.
Just stop with your soccer text. I know that's coming in. He's wanting to know about my feelings on the 232.
Is Poland playing today? Is that the big one?
Right.
Okay.
That is correct. All right. Donna and Dave, hold the line. I promise we'll get to you when we return. It is the Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point. There is absolutely no earthly reason that golf should be an Olympic sport.
Right.
There is not a single player in the world who would sooner win Olympic gold in golf than one of the majors, or frankly, probably any of the other events on the PGA Tour. So personally, I don't know why in the world they're doing this in the first place. I have no problem whatsoever with McIlroy deciding not to go.
Hearing from Rory does nothing for me about this. Hearing from an NBA player is not going to go. Show me the athletes who toil in anonymity and work for their 4 years before they go. When they start not going, and I don't think that's going to happen, because to those people, this competition is everything to them. So I'm not going to lie. Pardon me if I don't really care that Rory is not going or some NBA player is not going.
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
Celebrate summer in style with great July 4th deals happening right now at Lowe's, because nothing brings friends and family together like good food and a great-looking home. So hurry in today to save big on everything you'll need, like up to 35% off major appliances $396 or more. Plus, get a Whirlpool intuitive touch control washer and dryer starting at $499 each. Don't miss out on summer's best savings happening right now at Lowe's. Offers valid 6/22 through 7/12. Whirlpool offer valid on select items while supplies last. Price shown reflects discounts. Exclusions apply. See store for details and exclusions. U.S. only.
O'Reilly. Restore lost fuel economy and eliminate rough idle with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner and get 1 free. Clean clogged injectors and increase fuel efficiency with Lucas Fuel Injector Cleaner. Buy 2, get 1 free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. Finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
When your computer's not working, you're not working. Hi, this is Dan from Simplified Computers. Whether your computer is running slow, you have a virus, or it's just time for an upgrade, Simplified Computers is here to help with personal service you won't find at the big box stores. We can set up your wireless network, build, install, and maintain your business's server, or replace your hard drive. For over 18 years, we have served the Champaign-Urbana community with integrity and quality customer service. Call us at 352-5000. Simplified Computers, simply the best.
Racing action is back this Friday night in Farmers City at the Farmers City Raceway. It's Fan Appreciation Night, $5 general admission, late models, modifieds, prolates, street stocks, and Hornets, plus a driver's autograph session and fireworks. Gates open at 4 p.m., hot laps at 6:30 p.m., qualifying at 7 p.m., racing action begins at 7:30, and tickets are only $5 for general admission. This Friday at the Farmers City Raceway for Fan Appreciation Night, where we'll sell you the whole seats, but you only need the edge.
DP Dough is the original Calzone company, and they cater all types and sizes of events, from office orders to private parties to entire visiting football teams. Everyone will be sure to enjoy something different than the same old sandwiches or pizza. DP Dough also delivers to nearly all of Champaign, Urbana, and Savoy until late at night. So give them a call or order online when you're hungry and no one else is delivering. With over 1 million calzones served since opening in 2006, DP Dough is sure to satisfy and fill you up. DP Dough, the original Calzone company.
It's time for the update. NBA free agency kicks off tomorrow morning at precisely 12:01 a.m. Eastern time. Here's what you need to know. Kevin Durant's on the market, but probably not going anywhere. He's selected 5 teams along with his home team, Thunder. They will meet with and consider. Those teams are the Warriors, Spurs, Heat, Clippers, and Celtics. Many players, well, they're going to get overpaid. Because of the new much higher salary cap, which was raised from $70 to $94 million, teams will have a lot of wiggle room to sign players to max deals. Former Bulls big man Joakim Noah is expected to sign with the Knicks and his old teammate Derrick Rose. The Heat's Hassan Whiteside could be a big mover. The defensive wizard will decide as early as tomorrow between the incumbent Heat and Mavericks. Superstars and legends LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Dirk Nowitzki all opted out, but don't expect them to leave the place their statues will be anytime soon. A lot of younger players also seem like they're not too interested in moving. Al Horford, Nick Batum, and Mike Conley are likely to re-sign, though Horford is coveted by many, including the Thunder. And Conley, he'll meet with Mark Cuban's Mavericks. Raptors star DeMar DeRozan wants to stay with the Raptors, but don't count out the Lakers. And Wizards guard Bradley Beal will get a max deal from Washington, whether fans like it or not. MLB, the White Sox are up on the Twins right now. Carlos Rodon and Tommy Malone on the hill, but they've both been pulled. Todd Frazier clubbed a homer in the second to get things going, but a Brian Dozier homer kept the Twins in it. The Cubs are in New York tonight for the first of 4 games with the Mets. Big John Lackey takes the hill against one of the 2 Mets pitchers with a bone spur, Steven Matz. Matz is apparently in quite a bit of discomfort and will not be heavily featuring his slider. Regardless, they're putting him out there. After a comeback but extra inning falter, the Cardinals are trying to split the 4-gamer with the Royals tonight at home. Chris Young and Mike Leake go at it on the mound. And 2 trades in the MLB, Bud Norris to the Dodgers and Fernando Rodney, he's headed off to the Marlins. They already have a closer, though, so a bit odd.
All right, thank you, Nathan. It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5.
This segment of the Tay and J Show brought to you by Bricks Wood Fire Pizza in Champaign. Not your typical pizza joint. Try their 4x4 pizza featuring 4 meats. My kind of pizza.
Yeah.
Sausage, pepperoni, prosciutto, and bacon, and 4 cheeses.
Wait, did you say bacon?
Yes.
Okay.
4
That's all
meats
I
and
needed.
4 cheeses. The 4x4 at Bricks Wood Fire Pizza. For lunch, dinner, and late night, make it Bricks Wood Fire Pizza at the corner of Neal and Devonshire in Champaign.
You could have said with 4 meats, bacon, 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 and bacon. I'm like, all right.
And 4 cheeses, bacon, 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 bacon.
I'll take 3 of those to go, please. It is the Tay and J. I mentioned that show. Lonte and Jeremy Warner.
Cardinals lineups out tonight. Matt Carpenter at second, Colton Wong in center field, and Matt Holliday in left, Brandon Moss in right, Stephen Piscotty obviously dove for that ball. I haven't heard what the injury news is for him. That was a dang hard play.
Yeah.
To take. Matt Adams batting fifth. Johnny Peralta had the big hit last night. Third base. Brian Pena making the start at catcher.
Is he really
His first
good?
start.
Okay.
And Greg Garcia at shortstop, and Mike Leake pitching.
All right, Mike Leake on the hill, your boy. Let's go to the Jupiters at the Crossing phone line. Jupiters at the Crossing. It's Donna from Urbana. What happened? Hi, Donna. How are you?
I don't think we got Donna.
I think we lost Donna.
That's
all right. All right,
you had some Cardinals thoughts.
I did. Well, what's starting to bother me a little bit is 1-run losses, and I don't know if there is a reason for that or if that's one of those situations where, in other words, I don't know how to dive into it, but I looked today, the Cardinals at home. Number one, the Cardinals at home. This is weird. And Mike Claiborne even mentioned this the other day, that maybe the pressure of playing in front of them. I'm like, whoa, stop.
15-22 at home.
I mean, but the
25-15 on the road.
This is the first year, though, in like a decade that the Cardinals have had issues at home. So I don't know that these set of players all of a sudden are feeling the pressure of playing at Busch Stadium, but certainly they need to turn that around if they're going to be a player in this wild card race or even in the Central to face the Cubs. But the 1-run games, they're now 3-9 at home in 1-run games. Wow. That's not good. They lost like 2 of them. What brought it to my attention was when the Rangers were in town. Remember, they lost the 2 games to the Astros. Then the first 2 games against Texas, 1-run, and then lately they've lost another with the Royals here in a 1-run game. It worries me because you're at home. You've got the hammer. You're the last guy up to bat. Why are they losing all these 1-run games? But it's funny in sports, especially in baseball, it's just a cyclical thing. One year you do really well in 1-run games, the next year you don't. Yeah. And it's interesting to me that this team, and I guess you could go to the closer role.
Yeah, I mean, Rosenthal's a part of it.
That's
only part of it,
That's true. I mean, and there's other issues to it. And all the 1-run losses, they're not 9-8. I think there was a 9-8 loss early in the year. But most of them are 2-1, 3-2, et cetera, where I almost think that's more of the offense's fault with regards to not putting up runs. But that's a scary trend as the season progresses to watch for on the Cardinals.
I mean, every team has their games where they score a bunch of runs, don't score a bunch of runs.
Exactly.
This team is home run dependent.
They are.
A little bit.
They are.
Right?
That was another thought I had.
Who would have thought it?
Right.
I mean, who would have
Nobody.
thought this team would be a little home run dependent? But outside of Matt Carpenter, Stephen Piscotty gets on base a lot, but you don't have a lot of great base runners. Right?
Not at all.
You don't have guys who can, like Hayward, who can stretch something into a scored run or stretch something into a double. You got a bunch of station-to-station guys. So you need doubles and home runs to score most.
Johnny Peralta is the perfect example of that, of a station-to-station guy. Love the guy. Holiday's another, he used to be quicker, obviously, in his youth, doing that. But like Grichuk is a guy that could be, that could get you, is not, in other words, a station-to-station guy, but he can hit. Colton Wong is not hit. With any consistency. Yadi Molina is definitely a station-to-station. You brought up Moss, even Matt Adams. And that was another thought I had, that it's funny where a lot of years, I remember my brother and I complaining about, like, the Cubs, let's say. And I don't want Cubs fans to get all up in arms here. My brother and I are Cardinals fans. This is what we do when we're having a beer. This is what you Cubs fans do when you're having a beer.
You talk about the other teams?
Exactly. Bad things. Okay. Like, we bring up really bad thoughts. No, but it seemed like for many years the Cubs were just all about the home run. Like, if they had that day where the wind was blowing out, then all of a sudden they'll beat you 13-3.
The White Sox are the poster child of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Their entire last 15, 20 years has been home run
That's
dependent.
what it's all about.
I mean, it's home runs, strikeouts, and that's about it. I mean, 2005 was the one year where you weren't.
Right.
And that team hit a bunch of bombs.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and they still hit bombs. And so while I'm not scared, let's say, about the Cardinal offense, because it's still one of the best in Major League Baseball, and they're still producing runs. It does worry me, though, when all you do is sit and wonder and hope that you're going to get a home run to get offense. And that's something that's dangerous. But you said it, when you're station to station, like a lot of these guys are. Now, Diaz maybe doesn't fit into that description, but the majority of your offensive lineup, when you go out on a basis of 1 to 9, 1 to 8 minus the pitcher, are guys that are not going to turn, extra base hits. They're not going to get a double. They're not going to score on those kind of things. And that's tough to generate runs.
The National League is 3 teams and everybody else.
Yeah.
You got the Nationals, who are about a 600 team right now. They're riding a 4-game win streak. The Cubs, obviously the best team by the record in the National League. The Texas Rangers are right behind them in major leagues. San Francisco is running away a little bit in the West, especially the Dodgers and that Kershaw news. And then you got the Cardinals, the Dodgers, Miami, the Mets. Maybe Pittsburgh can make a little bit of a run. Colorado's only 4 games back of the wild card. That's your average to above average.
Yes,
right.
That's true.
And the Cardinals are above average in that.
They are.
I think they and probably the Mets probably have a higher ceiling than the rest of these teams. The Dodgers, I think, can get there, but the Kershaw news is obviously devastating. The Cardinals, these wins matter.
They do.
That's what stinks is you can talk about the Cubs. The Cubs are 11 games up.
Yeah, well, I'm not worried
about them when you get to 4 or 5.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
But these wins, these losses, these one-run losses are really, really costly right now.
And all of a sudden, and granted, Cardinals fans haven't really been used to this lately, but all of a sudden now you're battling 5 teams instead of 1. With regards to, you're not chasing the Cubs. Now you got that medley of teams you're chasing there in the middle. The other thing that's worried me about the Cardinals, base running, they're not very good at it. And again, it goes station to station, but defense this year has been horrible. And
I think all these little factors
they're all factoring in.
Bit,
and
right?
of course, pitching is the biggest one, right? If the Cardinals pitched like they pitched last year, then everything would be fine in America, right? We think, because we're America's team.
In your America.
That's correct. I mean, we have displaced the Cowboys as America's team. But last night, for instance, here you get a guy on third base, first and third, ground ball up the middle, and Matt Carpenter, who's sure-handed, boots the ball, has an error on it, trying to backhand a ball. And while I will not yell at Matt Carpenter, I just can't do it, you sit there, and this is what I told a buddy of mine this morning, when these guys make these errors, you're like, well, boy, Carp usually doesn't do that, so that's all right. Well, Piscotty usually doesn't do that. That's all right. Well, he doesn't. And then it's like, well, hold on a second. I can't keep saying these guys don't normally do that. This has been an epidemic all year. And one guy is not in that organization right now because he's hurt all year, and that's Jose Aquindo. And Aquindo was always the guy that handled that stuff. He always put guys in the right position. He's the one that attempted, of course, to put guys in the right position. So it's what we don't see as fans is Aquindo sitting in the dugout saying, all right, hey, shade him up the middle, shade him to the right. Now, they have other guys doing that, probably Mahoney, let's say, doing that on the bench, or David Bell. But it's one of those situations where I wonder if there isn't a little bit of a factor of Jose Aquindo not being there for this team. Now, I don't think that makes errors. These guys should be. They're Major League Baseball players.
It's really unquantifiable, but it's something that could be affecting. Losing Jason Hayward hurts.
That definitely hurts.
So this is why, he was very valuable, because he makes everybody else in that outfield
without
better.
a doubt.
And then Johnny Peralta moving to third base.
Well, and even with him out the first month or so, now you got guys. I don't want to say you got guys playing out of position, but when Peralta's in there, that is one position, whether he's at short or third, I don't worry about.
Yeah.
If there's a ground ball in his direction, 99% of the time he's going to eat it up and throw the guy out.
You know what's amazing? The Cardinals are only a game and a half ahead of the White Sox.
Wow.
As much as the White Sox have struggled the last month and a half. Isn't that kind of amazing?
That is amazing. Of course, you had that hot start.
Of course, the White Sox could be 2 games back. It's a tie game, 5-5 in the bottom of the 7th right now.
Oh, no. This never works well when they're playing day games with you and I here, because it seems like as it goes along, it never ends well for the Sox.
Scout.com released their top 100, their initial top 100 rankings for the football class of 2018. Okay. I think 2018 is a very good year in state. I think there's a little bit of depth there. I think there's some good prospects, like elite prospects that Illinois has a chance at. And one prospect in the state of Illinois is in the Scout 100. I think that could change by the end of this thing, but he's got a familiar last name.
Is it Howard?
Howard's son, Houston Griffith.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean, is it Howard? I meant Griffith. I'm sorry. Howard Griffith's son, right?
Houston Griffith. He's a defensive back. He's ranked number 83 in the Scout 300. He has offers from, I keep saying this, it's starting to get to the point where it's better to kind of easier to say all these Power 5 schools who haven't offered him than the ones who have.
Wow.
He's got offers. Illinois was the first with Beckman. Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Florida State, Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Nebraska, Florida, Tennessee.
So really, Illinois should be the favorite. I mean, you're Howard Griffith's son.
I think having Lovie Smith helps a lot more
Amen.
In that recruitment. And Mount Carmel is loaded because there's a kid that I think is probably just outside the top 100. Vertus Brown. Illinois was the first to offer. He's 6'5", 295 pounds. He camped up in Chicago earlier this month. He is a monster. He is athletic.
You saw him, right?
I saw. He's a future pro.
Okay.
He
looks
like a future pro. Illinois was the first to offer. They've gotten in there well. Now, other schools have come on and offered, including Ohio State and Florida State, Missouri, and Purdue. But he did come down for another visit during their big man camp. He didn't participate, but he practiced. He was there watching. Devin O'Rourke is also going to be a 4-star prospect out of Lincoln Way East. Illinois was one of the first to offer there as well. He camped and watched camp at Lincoln Way East, that satellite camp as well. So those are 3 guys that are 4-star prospects in the state. Illinois offered a couple others, including Chicago quarterback Quincy Patterson.
Okay.
A lot of people compare him to Juice Williams.
Oh, wow.
Big, strong, good runner, been a 2-year starter already. He's entering his junior year. Warren wide receiver Micah Jones, not the fastest, but really big.
Okay.
Some people, is he a wide receiver or is he a tight end? Because he runs about a 5.40. So the speed is a concern there, but they've offered. Michigan State recently offered. And then Bolingbrook cornerback Ishawn Stewart, he's got offers from Illinois and Iowa. They offered on the same day. So I think that can be a pretty good class, but Houston Griffith's son is the class of that class in state.
Right.
Yeah.
Howard Griffith's son, Houston. You said it right. Yeah, I didn't. It's not shocking, but it still is funny to hear that because I'm so used to basketball's top 100. I hardly ever hear football top 100. And usually because really since we started the show, we really weren't interested in the top 100 because our coaches weren't really going to get them, right? I mean, let's be honest. But now with Lovie Smith, now we can start focusing on that.
This is why I bring it up. It's your litmus test.
Right.
This is Lovie's chance. This is, I think, Illinois' best chance since Zook left to get prospects like this.
Correct.
To get guys who have offers from these big Power 5 schools, to get a bunch of, not a bunch, but a couple Scout 300, top 5 prospects in the state. You need to get a couple of those if you want to take Illinois to the next level, because we can talk about developing talent, all that. You just got to get the no doubt talents, too.
You have to. Correct.
And Houston Griffith is ridiculously good.
Yep.
People are probably thinking, does Howard help? I don't know if Howard's going to hurt, but
He's not going to hurt.
I think Howard's just about where can my son be most successful.
Oh, listen.
And I think Lovie Smith helps that a lot. If it was Bill Kubert or Tim Beckman here, I don't think you're getting Houston Griffith. I don't think you're getting Vertus Brown.
Yep.
And I doubt you're getting Devin O'Rourke.
Howard Griffith, bleeds orange and blue. The guy, we've had him on our show before. He loves Illinois. So even if this happens where Houston goes somewhere else, this isn't a bad spot on Howard Griffith, who loves this university and really had great, obviously
it's just like the Finkies, right?
That's exactly right. But it was funny to my point of, we're so used to having like 5, let's say, guys in the top 100, 4 or 5 guys in the top 100 of basketball, because Chicago, right. And that's what happens. Now in football, we have 1. And it's normal. Like, this isn't anything out of the norm, but it's funny to hear that. And when you said that, I'm like, wow, there's 1 dude out of Illinois in the top 100. But it's just, that's normal.
And there's a lot more prospects. Most of them are coming out of the South.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
No, that's exactly right.
There's 19 kids in the top 100 out of Texas.
That's why you have to recruit. That's why Lovey is sniffing around down in Texas. He's from there. That helps. Florida.
But
you still have to get your state.
You got to get kids from the state.
You have to own your state.
You have to. Yes, you can pick kids. You're going to get maybe 1 or 2 from Florida, 1 or 2 from Texas, or wherever it is. But you got to make your hay in the state.
You do.
And you got to lock up some of the definite Power 5 prospects and a couple of the top 10 prospects. And there are some of them. But 2018 is where they're going to have all that time to recruit all these kids. They're going to have as much time as anyone else to develop these relationships. This year they're behind, and I don't know if they'll be able to catch up. Now, they can get a good class. And obviously they've gotten 5 kids from the state. But some of those top kids, they really didn't have a chance at. These kids, you do.
You do.
So I think the most interesting storyline for me this entire year, and yes, it matters what happens on the field.
Sure.
But for me, is what they can do in recruiting.
Okay.
Like, who can you get to say that, yes, I'm going to go play for Lovie Smith? And these couple in-state kids are going to be really interesting to watch.
Kind of the litmus test, as you said. What class is it fair to say, all right, now Lovie's hit the ground running on? 18?
Yeah,
is that fair?
18 is going to tell us where this thing can go.
Okay.
Now, it's not going to be just a definite, but, 2019, 2018, those are the 2 classes where they're going to have as much time as anybody to recruit these guys.
That's fair, because I wondered about that. I know a lot of these kids are being looked at when they're in 8th grade, when they're freshmen.
And to be honest with you, 2017, Illinois is not going to win many football games.
No, they're not.
2016, you can't. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's maybe a little bit more important this year to win, because 2017, that roster on the offensive and defensive line is just not very good based on what they inherited.
No, and that'll be interesting to see if Lovie if he would go like a JUCO route just a little bit in that. I don't think he wants to.
I wouldn't.
No, right. I just develop what you have. Know you're going to take your lumps.
I'm fine with recruiting JUCOs. They better be jihad wards.
You're right. Exactly.
Right. There is no point when you're Lovie Smith and you have a 6-year deal making all that money
to do JUCO.
Good call. To go just get some JUCO prospect because he might give you depth for a couple years.
Fair enough.
There's a couple kids on this roster, the last couple rosters, that they took JUCO kids just to give them depth.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point of adding a kid?
Yep.
If he's not going to make an impact? I'd rather you get the high school prospect who can develop, and maybe in 2 or 3 years, you might lose that 1 or 2 years, but this has got to be patient, and fans better be patient.
Right. I think everybody agrees with you on that.
Right.
Even in basketball.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't see the point of just going, oh, that kid could develop into a guy who's on our second string.
Yeah,
I'd rather go get the high school prospect that can develop into a 2 or 3 year starter.
And let him work it out. 359-2255 if you want to weigh in. Speaking of Illinois football, next hour you were able to visit with, is it Jamel President?
Yeah.
All right, I said it right. Jamel President, the transfer from Auburn. You had a chance to talk to him. I'm anxious to hear from him.
Also talked with Joey Boza. He's the strength coach for Illinois for a couple minutes, so you'll hear from both of those guys at the top of the hour. If you want to weigh in, you can. 359-2255, 217-359-2255. Why would Clayton Kershaw get an epidural?
Ooh.
We'll talk about that with Doctor of Physical Therapy Jeff Schroeder for a Mettler Center Physical Therapy Injury Report coming up next.
There's also a former Illini football player that is impressing right now in the NFL. So we'll visit with that as well as we go along. Next hour, we've never done this before, I don't think. We're going to let you pick the topic. We're going to have a segment. If you want, just throw it out. And even if we don't know anything about it, we'll just do our best to lie and feel like we know something about it.
It's your chance to kind of produce the show, if you will. You can text us 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255.
It is the Tay and J Show.
Your local independent Pekin Insurance agent is part of your hometown. They're your friends and neighbors. They know you and your community. So when it comes to the right insurance coverage at the right price, you'll want to talk with the folks you can trust. Ask your local Pekin Insurance agent about the affordable insurance coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your family. They'll help you protect what matters most. And you can always count on beyond the expected service and coverage from Pekin Insurance. To find an agent near you, visit www.pekininsurance.com. Keep the drones from taking over before they ruin Independence Day. High Caliber Training Center and Indoor Range and Hunter's Haven will host a drone shoot on July 3rd with participants given the opportunity to win a drone of their own and a gift card worth $25. The $10 entry fee gets you 5 shots at winning. From noon until 3 p.m., you can blast away at the Flying Automaton to maintain our freedom. Bring your FOID card, range-approved ammunition, and safety equipment for your chance to win. High Caliber Training Center, where your safety always comes first.
Game Day Spirit, the official fan store of the Fighting Illini, is celebrating this summer in style. Stop by our store at 519 East Green or 1422 South Neal in Champaign any Thursday this summer for buy one, get 2 free t-shirts. And check out our brand new inventory, including men's, women's, and youth clothing and novelties. Now's the time to shop all University of Illinois apparel and accessories and save big at Game Day Spirit Fan Store, the official fan store of your Fighting Illini. Can't make it in? Shop online anytime at GameDaySpirit.com. Go Illini! Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza in Champaign isn't your typical pizza joint. Their dough is made fresh daily, only with the best ingredients, sauce, and cheese. Stop in Thursday evenings for $5 glasses of wine, paired perfectly with roasted butternut squash pizza with a sage pesto base, goat cheese, and mozzarella drizzled with honey, and a Brick specialty, freshly made bruschetta, topped with house-made mozzarella served over focaccia toast. Bricks also has hot and made-to-order sandwiches along with freshly made salads and pastas. For dinner, make it Bricks Wood-Fired Pizza at the corner of Neal and Devonshire in Champaign.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals, a nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Have you noticed a change in the air? The days are getting longer and soon we'll be in full club car season. But don't just drive a club car. Check out all the custom accessories at Battery Specialist Plus Golf Cars in Champaign. Everything you need to make a club car statement or build the club car of your dreams just the way you want it. The journey starts at bspgc.com. Battery Specialist Plus Golf Cars. 133 Kenyon Road just off I-74. Get on the road with a custom club car. bspgc.com.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons, 3 to 6, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
This segment of the Tay and J Show brought to you by Central Illinois Honda Dealers with 7 locations in Central Illinois, including Honda, BMW, Champaign. Visit CentralIOHondaDealers.com for a wide selection of new and pre-owned vehicles.
The back. We're going to address the back injury with Clayton Kershaw coming up with our Mettler Center Physical Therapy Injury Report. We'll do that here in a second. It is the Tay and J Show. Lonte, Jeremy Warner.
A 217 texter. You guys are crazy if you think the Cardinals miss Hayward in any way, shape, or form. He is probably the most overpaid player in baseball. Piscotty has more than made up for Hayward what Hayward lacks. There aren't any Cards fans missing him.
Do you want to read my reply to this guy?
You can go ahead.
My reply was, he was your MVP last year. I know he makes money, a lot of it, but why do you think the Cardinals brass, in fact, they offered more than the Cubs, went after him so hard? Let's be honest, fans. John Mozeliak and these guys know 10,000 times more baseball than we do. I know we watch it. I know we're proud. I know we played it. We act like we know what we're talking about. If John Mozeliak wants Jason Hayward that bad, you understand there's value to that team.
My issue is he's pretty much saying substitute Piscotty for Hayward.
Right.
Didn't Piscotty and Hayward play together last year?
Why couldn't you have both?
Right.
Why couldn't you have both and be even better?
That's my thing. I think you got to substitute Grichuk for Hayward.
Yeah, that's true.
Hayward is much better.
Right.
than Grichuk.
At this point, there's no doubt.
Yes, you got Pham, you got Moss, and those guys have been good. Adams has stepped up, but you miss Jason Hayward in certain realms. Now, I know he's not hitting all that well. He's hit well the last month.
Yes, he has.
He hit well the last couple months for you guys, but that's not what do you guys miss right now? We were just talking about defense, base running,
and base running,
and getting on base.
Yep, and that's what he does.
He does three of those things and just complements the rest of that lineup and the rest of that team very well, which is why the Cardinals went and tried to give him a bunch of money. And that's the thing. I think so many people look at all this money. It's like,
they do.
Look how much the Cardinals are making off these guys.
Right, exactly.
It's not an issue that he's making all that money. It wasn't an issue for the Cardinals.
And the other thing, Jeremy, you're the John Mozeliak. I'm the Walt Jocketty. You understand the war. You understand all these analytics. I don't. I get it. I understand. I mean, I believe in it.
You can even look at the eye test.
That's what I mean. Last year, the eye test was, as the first month, he was terrible. From then on, Jason Hayward was the best player the Cardinals had last year. And they won 100 games, and he was the best player, minus a pitcher, the Cardinals had, and that shows you what the value is for a kid like that.
Yeah, I mean, his OBP this month, 350, hitting 260, 3 home runs, 4 doubles. It's kind of what you expect.
Yep.
Out of Jason Hayward, and that's a really good player given his defense and base running.
That's exactly right. All right, it is time to head to the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line. Our Mettler Center Physical Therapy Injury Report. We're going to visit today with Doctor of Physical Therapy, Jeff Schroeder. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing very well, fellas. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Top of the afternoon to you.
I love it.
We're going to talk a lot about back injuries, but I guess we'll go with Clayton Kershaw specifically because he went in for an epidural. Now, my wife's going to get one of those in about 6 weeks when she gives birth, but why would a pitcher or why would somebody with a back injury need an epidural? Does this tell you anything?
Well, first of all, I mean, the easiest thing is that he's in a lot of discomfort and having some issues that can't be worked through maybe as quickly as they would like or as conservatively as they like. And when I say conservative, I'm talking physical therapy, training, those kinds of things. But, in professional sports, lots of money, a lot of things at stake. You want quick results. An epidural will allow that athlete and the medical team to go in and try to break that pain cycle sooner. So kind of calm everything down at a spinal level. More than likely, they're concerned of some issues with the nerves as they traverse and come away from the vertebral column or his spinal column, maybe contributing to some of his back issues. So really, it's they have those medical advances pretty readily available, and so they're going to utilize that pretty quickly with him.
Do you think this points to a disc issue, or if people talk about bone spurs or anything like that?
Those are the first things that you think about when with an epidural. The first line of defense against maybe a disc irritation or a nerve irritation, and the problem with that is if it's a disc irritation, where is it a bulge? Is the disc coming out onto the nerve? And you got to figure out where is that. If it's a bone spur, or does he have some closing of the openings where the nerve comes out, which is called stenosis. But regardless, they're going to go at the level where they suspect the problem is, whether that's a disc or a bone spur, and try to calm that nerve down. And if he has a good response to it, they can then implement some other training therapy procedures, and he can be more successful with that during his DL or rest time. So
that's fair enough. That is Doctor of Physical Therapy, Jeff Schroeder. Great information there. Our Mettler Center Physical Therapy Injury Report. I know I just don't want anything to do with that needle. That's all I'm thinking at this point. Jeff, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, and not a fan of needles either.
Right, I think we're all agreements with that one. That is good stuff there on the Mettler Center Physical Therapy Injury Report.
If you have any aches or pains, you can get a free consultation at Mettler Center. Just go to mettlercenter.com for more information. Next hour, we'll talk a little Illinois football to start. I chatted with Auburn fifth-year transfer Jamel President. Talked with him for a little bit. You'll hear from him. And strength coach Joey Boza talked with him as well. You'll hear from both those guys coming up.
Right, two important guys to this football team. We'll do it all next hour. It is the Tay and J Show. This Mettler Fitness Tip is brought to you by the Mettler Center, located at Windsor and Duncan in Champaign.
Learn delicious ways to cook healthy foods. Gradually cut down on fat, sugar, and salt in your usual recipes, and watch how your taste buds adapt to appreciate the natural taste of foods. Use citrus juices, herbs, spices, oils, and vinegars to add amazing new zest to your food, while you reduce your reliance on fat, sugar, and salt.
If you need quick advice on a fitness topic, go to MetlerCenter.com and click on Ask an Expert.
Legends Golf Course and Driving Range in Southwest Champaign offers something for golfers of all levels. The 9-hole executive course is great for anyone seeking a quick round of golf at an affordable price. Check out league nights, schedule a private outing, or your company's next team building event. Junior players can learn the game through camps while honing in on their skills in a fun environment. Relax after a round in the newly renovated clubhouse while catching up on golf tournaments or baseball on one of their 6 televisions. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range. Visit them at legendsofchampaign.com.
Celebrate our great nation's independence on the 4th of July with the 67th Annual Champaign County Freedom Celebration. Volunteers are needed if you could help with set up or take down, hospitality. It all begins at 9:05 with the 5K race, walk, and youth run. Evening entertainment at 7, featuring the hardest working band around, Ryan Ideas and the Feudin' Hillbillies. And enjoy the fireworks spectacular around 9:15. 531-3777 or visit July4.net.
Rainstorm Car Wash.
Rainstorm Car Wash has opened a new location at the corner of Neal and Devonshire. For as little as $19.95 per month, you can get your car washed every day. Their ride-through car wash gets you in and out in just 3 minutes, and they offer free vacuums with every wash. Keep the bugs off your car and keep it looking new with a fast pass for as low as $19.95. So visit Rainstorm Car Wash at their new convenient location at Neal and Devonshire in Champaign. Visit rainstormcarwash.com or on Facebook.
Rainstorm Car Wash. Get in, get clean.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
I'm Lisa Brady. One of the last barriers is coming down in the U.S. military.
Our mission is to defend this country.
Defense Secretary Ash Carter lifting the transgender ban.
It's the right thing to do, and it's another step in ensuring that we continue to recruit and retain the most qualified people.
The changes allowing transgenders to openly serve and receive related medical benefits will be phased in over 1 year.
It seems maybe they're more interested in the publicity value than really getting something accomplished, because something like this will require some legislation.
Senate Armed Services Committee Chair John McCain concerned about the fiscal impact. This question moments ago at a Donald Trump rally in New Hampshire from a man who used to have a family business making police badges.
We had full Blue Cross. We had paid vacations. We had 401ks. I used to be able to take a 2-week vacation. That's gone. What are you going to do for us?
He tells Trump they lost those jobs to China.
They play the game to win. We play the game in this country to survive. We're going to start playing the game to win. So just hang in there. I know it's not easy, but hang in there, man.
The Clinton campaign and White House criticizing Trump's calls to renegotiate or pull out of trade deals. President Obama just signing a rescue plan into law for Puerto Rico, which is $70 billion in debt. The bill sets up a control board to help oversee the U.S. territory's finances and help restructure debt. 3 in a row for Wall Street. The Dow up 235, ending June in positive territory despite the Brexit slide. The S&P and the NASDAQ also up more than 1% today.
So for the year, we're halfway through the year, an important milestone today. The Dow up about 3%. The S&P, that's the gauge, the broadest gauge we have, and that's up more than 2.5%.
Fox Business Network's Lori Rothman, the tech-heavy NASDAQ, though, in red for June and the year. Fair and balanced.
Control, this is QL1. Everything looks good on my end. Prepping for liftoff. Over. One more thing, QL1. What's that, Control? You've been talking a lot about Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans lately. What would you say is the best reason to use it? Well, it's completely online. It's easy to use. You can get approved in minutes. It's convenient. You can share your pay stubs and bank statements at the touch of a button, so you get real numbers, not estimates. And hey, QL1, I asked for the best reason. Yeah, go ahead and pick one. Anyone. That's tough. They all sound great. I think you're finally getting it, Control.
3, 2, 1.
Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button. Get mortgage.
Rocket.
Visit for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Heading into the holiday weekend, Homeland Security Chief Jay Johnson urging Americans to celebrate the 4th of July, but also to be vigilant.
Public awareness and public vigilance can and does make a difference in terms of detecting possible terrorist plots, terrorist activity.
He's also emphasizing the heightened security in place at airports and other transportation hubs in the wake of recent terror attacks overseas. After Tuesday's triple suicide bombing at a Turkish airport, now blamed for at least 44 deaths, one senior Turkish official says the attackers weren't from Turkey. They were from Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan.
This is 13 people have been arrested in Istanbul on suspicion of being linked to the violence. 4 of them are foreign nationals, according to state-run Anadolu news agency. 9 others were detained in the coastal city of Izmir on suspicion of having links to ISIS.
Fox Radio's Jessica Gallagher, still no claim of responsibility for the airport attack. Late word that after 16 years in prison for the killing of his former high school girlfriend, a man at the center of a popular podcast, Serial, has a chance at freedom. A retired Baltimore circuit judge has just ruled that the 35-year-old deserves a new trial in the case that became the focus of the podcast, captivating millions of listeners around the world. A college baseball champion just crowned.
3-2 coming to Ryan Hogg. He got him, and it's all over. Coastal Carolina rules the roost. They win the championship.
Moments ago on ESPNU, it's the first national championship for the Chanticleers in Game 3 of the College World Series Finals, a 4-3 win over Arizona, and the first time in decades that a team that made it to the finals for the first time went all the way. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at cheapbauer.com. Overnight, could get some thunderstorms. A low of 63. Tomorrow should clear up. High 78, low of 53. Saturday, mostly sunny. Enjoy it. High 77, low of 57. Could get some rain the rest of the weekend. Right now, sunny, clear, 78 in Champaign-Urbana.
Hey, you can win with Champaign Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram on Moreland Boulevard with ESPN 93.5. This is as simple as it gets. You don't have to answer a question. Here's what you do. You stop into Champaign Chrysler today or tomorrow, whenever, and drop your name in the box to win tickets to see the Cardinals take on the Dodgers July 24th. Kershaw will miss a few games, but he'll be back on the 24th, of course. But you can do that with Champaign Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Moreland Boulevard. Do that with them and ESPN 93.5.
It's a Cardinals fan that really is glad Jason Hayward's playing for the Cubs, apparently.
I know.
In our text message.
I'm just not even going to respond.
Jason Hayward sucks, apparently.
Here's where I stop. Piscotty is the much better player. I just stopped. I love Steven Piscotty.
Better hitter right now.
Right now. But let's let it go. I mean, and you know what?
I think he's probably the better hitter.
Piscotty may be the better player when it's all said and done.
But it's not about that.
It's not.
It's not Piscotty versus Hayward.
Correct.
It's you had Piscotty and Hayward last year.
Yeah.
And you won 100 games.
And why not try to have them both?
I think you'd rather have both of those guys right now over any combination of outfielders.
That is correct.
Right
and I lean on guys like Mike Claiborne that is around the club on a daily basis, that is, active in this. And Mike Claiborne will tell you that was the one guy they needed to sign. They needed to get Jason Hayward back.
And he says, ask McCarver or Rabosky what they think of Hayward.
Okay.
I'd rather ask somebody else's opinion about baseball.
Right. Hell, throw in Horton there. I've never been more unimpressed. Now, I love McCarver. I might be on an island here.
No, I think he got to the point where, yes,
on a
it was
national
easy to pick on him. It was because he shouldn't have been the national guy.
No.
But for a Cardinals broadcaster, yes, he's good.
He and Dan McLaughlin are made for you need to listen to them. They are hilarious.
Yeah.
And McCarver, the one thing I've always liked about him, sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes he turns into Mr. Obvious. But there's other times where he'll say, this inning, I want you to watch for this. And it's something that I don't ever think about. Now, Rabosky's just Rabosky. He's kind of like Shannon. They're there, and you just kind of love them because they're Cardinal guys, and you move on from that. But Ricky Horton, I'm not a fan. And he's a super guy. I'm sure he'd be a fun guy to visit with on our show, but I'm just not a fan of Ricky Horton.
Television rankings, where do you think the Cardinals ranked of all 32 teams?
Now, what do you mean by rankings? Just popular?
Fan graphs, yeah. They did a fan They had fans vote and rank each of these guys on a 5 scale of charisma and analysis. And where do you think the Cardinals TV booth ranked? Out of 32, because the White Sox have a home and away, different crew, and the Dodgers have a home and away.
So this has a lot to do with the announcers.
Yes, it's all based on broadcast. Broadcaster rankings.
Okay, because I was going to put them really high just because Cardinals fans love watching it. I'll go 6.
Way too high.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, how about 16?
Too high.
20?
Too high.
Really? 24?
24.
Wow.
St. Louis Cardinals, they got a 3 out of 5 for charisma, which I would kind of agree with.
Okay.
I think McLaughlin's a pro.
Dan McLaughlin's really good.
He's a pro, but he's not the most charismatic guy.
Yeah.
And they're color guys.
Yeah, I know.
Very charismatic.
Well,
that's their problem.
Edmonds is not very good. I don't know if he ever will be. McCarver. I like McCarver. Again, I like
Horton
him.
And Rabosky.
No.
Analysis 2.5.
Okay.
So they're 24th. Where do you think the White Sox and Hawk Harrelson and their away crew ranked?
Boy, I'm going to overshoot this. 11th. Okay, 32nd.
Yes.
Okay.
They're last.
Okay. I thought for some reason this was going to be a trick question.
Analysis 1.7, and I think that's a little high. Charisma 2.3. Steve Stone's good, but when Hawk's there, it's just a bad broadcast.
It really is.
He blames umpires when he gets angry. He just yells at people, or he doesn't talk at all. Or he doesn't talk at all.
Just stops talking.
And it's really uncomfortable because Stone and him just do not see eye to eye on anything.
Right.
Now, the White Sox home broadcast with Jason Benetti, who's been very good. He's kind of your McLaughlin, right? Just a pro. Mm-hmm. He's a little funny, too. He's a little witty. They are 19th.
Okay.
They get a 3 for charisma, 2.9 for analysis.
Who works the home with him?
Jason Benetti and Steve Stone.
Oh, it's Stoner. Oh, Stoner. Stoney is what I meant.
Yeah.
We know each other.
Where do you think the Cubs broadcast ranks?
Oh, boy. Now,
with Len Casper and JD.
They're really good. I'm going to say, I'll say 10th.
2-0.
6th.
2-0.
2nd.
4th.
Really?
Cubs are 4th at 4.1 with charisma, 4.4 with analysis. The New York Mets are number 3, San Francisco Giants number 2, and number 1.
Boston?
No.
I don't know.
Come on.
Am I supposed? I should know this?
You should know this. I keep saying it's a national treasure.
It's not coming to me.
Vin Scully.
Oh, well, okay.
Dodgers.
I'm sorry,
home by himself.
My bad.
4.8 with charisma, 4.2 with analysis.
Okay, that was, I'm sorry,
So
man.
the Dodgers number 1, Giants 2, Mets number 3, the Cubs 4, Baltimore number 5.
See, now what you just did to me right there, you're going to make me go to church Sunday because I feel like I just sinned. I literally just sinned. Well, not literally, but I sinned because I did not think of Vin's. Yeah, right. I sinned because of Vin. I apologize, Mr. Scully. I doubt you're listening right now, although you could be. You could be on our app or whatever.
Well, no, he's too worried about Clayton Kershaw right now.
Right. He might be at the hospital with him.
All right, Illinois football, they're undergoing workouts right now. I talked with strength coach Joey Boza earlier this week or last week, but today I chatted with Jamel President, the Auburn transfer defensive end, add some depth to that line, add some experience to that line. Here's my chat with Jamel President.
Jamel, you've been here for a couple of weeks now. What's the time been like at Illinois so far?
It was the best experience. I know I'm learning new things, being around new teammates and stuff like that, so it was pretty good.
Just take me through the decision of why you wanted to come to Illinois, leave Auburn and SEC power like that.
Just to get a better experiment and better chance of making it to the next level, just to give me more opportunity to be a better player and to help other players.
And the one thing about your recruitment is you're recruited by Coach Cubitt and that staff, and right after you commit, there's that coaching change. Take me through what the range of emotions were like for you when Cubitt was fired, and then you hear Lovie Smith is your new coach.
Really, it was really Coach Al that got me up here. So, I mean, Coach Fair stayed, so I was like, okay, I'm going to stay. And then also Coach Lovie called me, like, are you going to stay with your commit? Yeah, I'm going to stay, so I'm coming, and I'm going to help y'all out. So I said I'm going to stay with my commit and then be an alumni.
Did you have second thoughts at any time?
No, sir.
No, sir. And obviously, you chose to come to Illinois, which is not the South. You've been in the South most of your life. It's summer now. Has there been any big transition from moving up here?
Yes, a couple of days it was pretty cold. Some days it was hot. So, I mean, just the change of the weather was a little different.
What do you bring to Illinois on the football field?
I'm going to bring a little everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm moving this. I'm going to play inside, a little outside, so I'm bringing everything just to help the team out the best way I can.
What do you think your strengths are as a player?
Just being a team leader, that's my strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel about run stuff or pass rushing? What do you think?
Mostly probably run stuff, but I'm working on my pass rush to get that a lot better.
Okay. And what has Coach Fair been harping on with you the most?
Just get off. That's all that matters. Just get off.
And obviously this team, the defensive line, you've seen some good defensive linemen in the SEC. What do you think of this group that you have with you at Illinois?
This is a very talented group. So, I mean, they got downward. I mean, there's a pretty good group, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is a good group. They can compete in the SEC as well as I did. So I think this is a pretty good group that can help out and compete anywhere.
You said this is what you want to try and get to the next level. Why do you think this is a better place for you to get to the next level?
Better coaches. Just they know more about everything, and then just Coach Fair, he was in the league, so he know what to expect. And they got awards that went in the second round last year. You got Smooth part of the first round pick this year, first draft pick, or first round. So, I mean, that's just a positive right there, just to motivate me more.
Obviously, this is a big season for you. What do you want to get out of this season, this 1 year at Illinois?
This would be a great player, and help the team the best way I can.
And obviously, you got an interesting last name, President. How often do people call you Mr. President? Do you get any nicknames or anything like that?
As El Presidente, that's my nickname for the strength coaches and stuff. So I mean, I like it. I mean, I was called for the last 4 or 5 years, so I mean, I'm used to it.
How about off the field? What are something people don't know about you, or what's kind of your biggest kind of hobbies off the field?
Relax and watch Netflix.
What's your favorite Netflix?
I would say Prison Break. That was one of my favorite shows to watch. I mean, I could sit up all night and watch that show. And I also like Space Jams on Stars. So, I mean, that's the new movie they put on this. I mean, I was watching Space Jam for like 2 weeks straight. So,
what's the biggest thing you like so far about Champaign-Urbana?
It's very, very quiet. So I like that, and a lot of activity going, a lot of craziness going on. It's very quiet.
What's the biggest thing you miss from the South?
I don't really know yet. I haven't really seen too much yet. So, I mean, I can say is the mall.
Yeah,
the mall.
Yeah. Jamel, President, what's your goal for this year at Illinois?
Just to be a great leader. That's all my goal is, to be, and just produce on the field.
I mean, that's what we asked for from El Presidente, right? Leadership.
Grad transfer Jamel President comes from Auburn. Did start some games at Auburn where obviously they were pretty successful in the first couple of years of Gus Malzahn. Didn't go so well last year, and he lost his starting spot. But this is a legit Power 5 conference defensive lineman. I don't think he's a star, but I do think he gives them great depth.
Sure.
A defensive end who's more of a run stuffer than pass rusher at this point. Though as he talked about, Mike Fair just talks about burst off the line of scrimmage. That's every drill. They're just trying to get off the line of scrimmage as quickly as possible. But he also gives them versatility because he can play defensive end on run downs, and then he can go inside to defensive tackle on pass downs. And that's what they did with Jihad Ward last year.
Okay.
If you watch those games, Jihad Ward was a defensive end, but then he'd slide in a defensive tackle. Now, towards the end of the year, they got Carroll Phillips in at D end, and Jihad played mostly defensive tackle, but you always love guys who can be a little versatile like that.
It's funny how we always talk about offensive linemen that can be versatile and maybe play guard or tackle, or a guy at guard and can switch over to center. That's more popular to talk about. We really don't talk about that much, or I don't. Maybe people do, about defensive linemen. You almost just pigeonhole them into either an end or a tackle, and you don't think about the versatility and how important that is, especially if injury occurs.
Especially in today's game, too. Because you got so many sub packages that you're going to, and that's always been something. But now being more versatile when you talk about guys who can be on the edge or they can drop back as a linebacker, and it's the same way with guys who can play inside and outside of the D line.
I told you during that interview, I said, that's pretty cool that he can come here from the SEC and he's going to play with a darn good line.
Yeah.
This is a really good football line. And when he says this line could play in the SEC, I believe it this year. There's a lot of years where I wouldn't say that.
Got a first-round pick, maybe, in DeJuan Smoot. I think Chunky Clements is a draft pick. Where? I'm not sure.
Okay.
Rob Bain could probably play in a camp.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Jamal Milan might end up being a pro at some point. The staff and all the other players, they're really high on him. They think he can be a star. But yeah, he's coming off that knee sprain last year. Didn't play much this spring. They're being a little cautious with him. But yes, and Carroll Phillips, had a heck of a spring.
That's awesome. He's athletic.
Well, he's just a pass rusher.
Right.
He's got to get better against the run. And I think that's where President helps, is those two can really complement each other really well. But Carroll Phillips is a dangerous pass rusher.
I agree. I always get a kick out of these guys are so big, they're that nice. I don't know why they wouldn't be nice. Big boy. But it's like you look at guys that big, you're like, all right, he's just going to be you're just one of those grouch guys and just beat you up.
Well, Illinois needs more guys who can get to the pros.
Yes, they do.
And a big part of that is recruiting, right?
Oh, yeah.
But another part is making them bigger, making them faster, making them more athletic. And you can do that in the weight room and conditioning. And I talked with strength and conditioning coach Joey Boza last week. Here's a little bit of that interview.
Joey, just what have you thought of your time here so far, a couple months?
It's been really good. You got in here the week after spring break. We started on a Monday, and then spring ball started that Friday. So didn't get a ton of time with the guys during that spring ball period. So right now in the summer is a critical time for us during this 8-week phase to really get some development in our players.
You come here from Fresno State. What drew you to Illinois? What drew you to Lovie Smith?
Really, being back in the Big Ten and being a part of Coach Smith's staff and the coaching staff that he put together, it was an opportunity that me and my family are very excited about.
Yeah. Philosophy-wise, I mean, there's so many things that go into strength and conditioning program, but is there a general philosophy that you think makes a program successful from this perspective?
Yeah, I think you got to hang your hat on something. We're going to hang our hat on effort and how we do things. We're trying to make better football players. So we're going to do things that track people do. We're going to do things that powerlifters do with the whole design to make these guys better football players and better at what they're asked to do on the football field.
Yeah. Well, you've had a little bit of time with the players. Have you learned anything about what this program needs with you coming in? Any changes?
There's some things that we're trying to address right now. We're trying to decrease some body fat on our football team. We feel like if we decrease some body fat and increase lean muscle mass, that'll give our players a better chance to move around a little bit better than they are right now. And so that's our focus right now in the summer.
How big is injury prevention, given all the injuries that have occurred in this program? How do you attack that?
Huge. I think it's the way you train and how you prepare your guys for the season. We take injury prevention very serious, do a lot of neck and trap work, and it's a physical contact game, and so how we train our players is critical for that.
You went to Wisconsin. What'd you know from Illinois at that time, and what's it like to be back in the Big Ten?
It's great to be back in the Big Ten. I had a great experience at the University of Wisconsin. I got to play here a couple times, and I'm just excited to be back in Champaign.
Yeah, he told
a Badger.
He told me he's from California.
Oh, okay.
Joey Boza. He's from California. He went to Wisconsin, was a starter there for 2 years at defensive back.
I thought I'd heard that. I know Joey Boza. I know that name. I know that, but I remember him.
Yeah, he told me that Luke Butkus reminds him weekly that they beat him in Wisconsin during their Big Ten championship year by a touchdown. Brandon Lloyd scored a touchdown to beat Wisconsin that year. Yes. He said he's reminded weekly, and I go, I think Luke Butkus would do that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
I think he would do that, but he's got his work cut out for him.
Sure.
Illinois is not big enough. They're not strong enough. They're not fast enough. Now they're getting a little bit. They're good this year, I think, in the front seven.
Mm-hmm.
But then next year they got to replenish that a little bit. So recruiting's a big part of this. But he mentioned the body fat, and it's kind of surprising when you hear that there's a Big Ten team that has too much body fat.
Right, because you want them big.
If you're a strength coach, I would be like, that's one issue where, we should be trim.
Sure.
Even our big guys should be as lean as possible because you want them to move as fast as possible, especially on the defensive side of the football, but even the offensive line. So, and then injury prevention is obviously a big part of it. I was when I was talking to Jamel President, Mikey Dudek was out there with his shirt off. That kid's been in the weight room a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing all right in that regard.
He's got a career modeling or something, underwear model if he wants, because he's just yoked right now. But hopefully that leg feels a little better.
No doubt, no doubt. It's funny when you mentioned body fat, because a lot of times think of Wisconsin. Think of their 5 offensive linemen that are all like 340 pounds. And a lot of times you look at just their...
But it's not just soft.
It's not. That's the thing. And that's the thing, I think, to us, the fan, we forget how strong these guys are. And we just see the gut, right? You see the gut of offensive linemen, you're like, wow, that guy's just fat. But they're strong, man.
Go watch Robbie Bain in the weight room.
Right.
Rep out like 225 pounds 40, 50 times.
Do we understand, the layman fan, let's say, do we understand how important... especially I don't know, in the last 10 years, the strength and conditioning coaches?
It's been for a while.
Okay.
I mean, it's been for a while. Even in the 90s, 80s, whatever. A strength and conditioning program is really important.
Never heard about that. We never heard about
Well, you don't think about it, but
no.
I mean, think about how much time they put in weight rooms and conditioning. This month, they put an hour every 4 days, an hour conditioning every 4 days, and then 4 days a week they have an hour conditioning and speed drills, things like that, and then they go work out in the weight room for an hour. That's 8 hours a week.
Wow, that's a lot.
I mean, that's a big part is just getting in the shape, eating the right things.
Right.
I mean, it's not just they show up on Saturday or they practice and play football and get that big.
Yeah.
Right, that's a huge part, and the strength and conditioning you saw in the Zook era with Wu Hernandez, those guys looked the part.
Mm-hmm.
Now, were they coached all that well? Probably not.
Right. Well,
but the last 4 or 5 years, they haven't looked like a Big Ten team up front, except for last year's defensive line. The offensive line still got to catch up.
That's a bonus too for these kids, and it's great. I mean, I think it's awesome that they are shown what to eat. They're basically told, all right, this is what you need to do. We always think back to the whole Mike Tisdale diet, right? Yeah. But these guys are,
they're still a healthy diet.
Absolutely. They sit down and say you need to eat a lot of chicken, probably fish, that kind of stuff, and then continue to do the conditioning and, of course, lift. Those guys lift nonstop. So that's neat. I'm sure that is something that I don't probably give enough credit to as a strength and conditioning coach and what that means to a team.
They spend more time with a team than any coach.
Unreal.
I mean, they get 8 hours or more a week. Well, right now, the other coaches really can't be on the field with them, right?
Wow.
They are limited with how much they can be on the field with them, while the strength and conditioning coach is with them all the time.
That's huge. And guys and trainers like Rod Cardinal. I mean, they spend a lot of time with these kids, and probably more so than the coach.
If you want to weigh in, you can. 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Coming up next, you pick the topics.
Yeah!
Send us what you want us to talk about. Could be funny, could be serious. We got some good Illinois topics as well. You can tweet me at JWarnerScout, or you can text the Cheap Hour text line at 217-359-2255. That's 359-2255.
If this goes well, this could be a weekly segment.
By the way, Matt Davidson.
You just blew that off.
Sorry. No, I heard what you said, but...
Wait, is that what it feels like?
Yes.
Okay.
Matt Davidson. I heard your weekly topic.
Right, no, but that's really what it feels like, because how many times a day do I do that to you?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot.
Matt Davidson, in his major league debut with the White Sox, has a fractured foot.
Oh, no. That's so White Sox. Did you win?
Yeah, an RBI. Yeah, the White Sox won 6-5.
That's good.
So we've won 3 straight series, but that stinks. I'm glad you find that funny.
I don't even want to say I'm laughing with you, because you're not laughing at this.
Weekly topics. You can send us 359-2255 on the Cheap Hour text line. That's 217-359-2255.
It's the Tay and J Show.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. Here's Sarah Spain.
It's been a pretty decent couple weeks for the good folks of Cleveland. First, the Cavs finally brought the city a championship, winning the NBA title. Around the same time LeBron James and company were finishing off the Warriors, the Indians started to heat up on the diamond, and they haven't cooled down since. Wednesday night, they defeated the Atlanta Braves 3-0 to win their 12th straight game, the major's longest winning streak this season, and 1 win shy of the team's franchise record. The heroes of Wednesday's game after this.
Ryan Russillo here. If you're a small business owner, then you know firsthand it can be a real challenge to get access to funding. It's time for funding to catch up to the 21st century. It's time for Cabbage. Fill out the application online and you'll get a decision in minutes with on-the-spot access to a line of credit of up to $150,000. No waiting, no hassle. Cabbage is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, has been named a Forbes Top 100 company twice in a row. So go to Kabbage.com or call 855-CABBAGE. That's Cabbage with a K, K-A-B-B-A-G-E, the #1 online provider of small business loans.
It starts with the tires. Add in the pilots.
San Francisco Tower, clear to land on 29er right.
Flight 232, clear to land 29er right.
150 sleepy passengers homeward bound. Descending through the clouds, flaps full, gear down. Runway in sight, where the rubber meets the road. And touching down. Those Goodyear tires. Everything we learn making tires for commercial airliners inspires what we roll into yours. Go to Goodyear.com to find the right tire in store for you. Goodyear, more driven.
Jason Kipnis broke open a scoreless tie with a 2-out, 2-run single in the 5th Wednesday night, and Lonnie Chisenhall went deep in the 6th to tack on another run. Danny Salazar threw 7 innings of 5 hits, scoreless ball, and the bullpen preserved the shutout. Salazar was feeling it, striking out 8 and walking none en route to his 10th win of the year. Salazar joins Chris Sale, Chris Tillman, and J.A. Happ as the only double-digit winners in the AL, and has got the league's second-best ERA at 2.22. He's won 6 straight starts, and for the month of June, he went 5-0 with a 1.90 ERA and struck out 35 in 33 innings. The win completed the sweep for the Indians in Atlanta, their 4th straight series sweep. They've put up crazy numbers during their 12-game win streak, outscoring opponents 76-25 and batting .311 with 22 homers. Their starters' combined ERA during the stretch is 1.91. On the season, they're now 17 games over 500, leading Kansas City by 6 games as of Thursday morning. Maybe I'm jumping the gun a little, starting the planning for a second parade in Cleveland, but the Indians sure look on track to make some waves in the postseason. Baseball Prospectus is currently giving them a 96.5% chance to make the playoffs, second only to the Cubs at 99.8%. Now imagine that, a Cubs-Indians World Series. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself again. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Sarah Spain.
Hi, I'm Habib, CEO of BPC, and this is your Motivational Minute. John Maxwell, the internationally admired guru of leadership, wrote that we should give people the AAA treatment, that people feel much better when you give them attention, affirmation, and appreciation. He quotes this: "A gossip is one who talks to you about other people. A bore is one who talks to you about himself, and a brilliant conversationalist is one who talks to you about yourself." John Maxwell has been an inspiration for me for several decades. He has written many best-selling books about leadership. Everyone who reads his books or conferences has been motivated and energized. That's why I'm hosting his Live to Lead event here in Champaign at the Virginia Theater in October. Tickets are on sale, so go get them while early bird pricing is in effect. You can buy the tickets online at the Virginia's website or by calling their ticket office at 217-356-9063. I'm Habib, looking forward to joining you and getting inspired and motivated by one of the world's best motivators, John Maxwell.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals. A nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch a game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's time for the update. NBA free agency kicks off tomorrow morning at precisely 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time. Here's what you need to know. Kevin Durant is on the market, but probably not going anywhere. He selected 5 teams along with his home team, Thunder, they will meet with and consider. Those teams are the Warriors, Spurs, Heat, Clippers, and Celtics. Many players, they're going to get overpaid. Because of the new much higher salary cap, which will be raised from $70 to $94 million, teams will have a lot of wiggle room to sign players to max deals. Former Bulls big man Joakim Noah is expected to sign with the Knicks and his old teammate Derrick Rose. The Heat's Hassan Whiteside could be a big mover. The defensive wizard will decide as early as tomorrow between the incumbent Heat, Mavericks, and possibly the Blazers. A lot of younger players also seem like they're not too interested in moving. Al Horford, Nick Batum, and Mike Conley are likely to re-sign, though Horford's coveted by many, including the Thunder, and Conley, he'll meet with Mark Cuban's Mavericks. Raptors star DeMar DeRozan wants to stay with the Raptors, but don't count out the Lakers, and Wizards guard Bradley Beal will get a max deal from Washington whether fans like it or not. MLB, the Sox beat the Twins 6-5. Carlos Rodon got the win over Tommy Malone. Todd Frazier clubbed a homer in the second to get things going, and the Sox have won their 3rd series in a row. The Cubs are in New York tonight for the first of a 4-game series with the Mets. Big John Lackey takes the hill against one of the 2 Mets pitchers with a bone spur, Steven Matz. Matz is apparently in quite a bit of discomfort and will not be heavily featuring his slider. Regardless, they're sending out the lefty. After a comeback, but extra inning falter, the Cardinals are trying to split the 4-gamer with the Royals tonight at home. Chris Young and Mike Leake are on the mound. 2 trades. The MLB, Bud Norris to the Dodgers, Fernando Rodney to the Marlins, even though A.J. Ramos is the closer. Other news, FDA saying you can't eat raw cookie dough. E. coli in the flour. Scarlett Johansson, she makes more money than any other actress, and there will be a Wreck-It Ralph, too, so get hyped for that. Yeah, wow.
Cha-ching.
Always throwing in some updates for us on the entertainment level. I want to tell you, speaking of entertainment, if you like golf, and you're not really wanting to go maybe attack some of these nice 18-hole golf courses, well, I've got a really awesome 9-hole course. It's Champaign's elite 9-hole golf course. That's Legends Golf Course right off of Staley Road in Western Champaign. You know it. They've got carts available. You can come out, work on your short game. There's 2 par 4s out of the 9. There's a couple where you can grip and rip, but the rest, you're working 7, 8, 9 wedge right in there, plus your putter. It's a remodeled clubhouse to relax in after a day on the course. They've got beer, they've got pop, they've got some food in there. Golf lessons are available. Leagues are available for adults and juniors. They also have season, range, and course passes. That's wonderful. If you live in the Champaign-Urbana area and you get your son or daughter a range or a course pass, that's perfect. That's babysitter right there. Legends Golf Course located off Staley Road in Champaign.
It is the Tay and J Show, and we're going to try this out today. You pick the topic for this segment, and we could go 2 if we wanted to do this. Text them in at 359-2255. That's 217-359-2255. Or you can tweet me at JWernerScout.
Bud Light.
217 texter. And hey, texters, throw your name on there so we know who you are. We got a lot of 217 texters, of course. How do you feel about Bumgarner hitting tonight in place of a DH? Do you like the NL strategy of hitting or the AL power surge style of offense more?
I'm confused.
Bumgarner is playing DH tonight.
Oh, okay.
For the
Because
Giants.
they're playing.
They got interleague team.
My bad. That's my bad. I don't like it.
Why?
I mean, I love it as a fan. I wouldn't. Okay,
they don't
hold
have
on.
a better option than Bumgarner.
I know.
He does it normally, right?
Okay, hold on. As a not a fan of the Giants, I think it's great. I think it's going to be awesome for baseball. It's awesome for me to watch. I would watch that. If I was a Giants fan, I wouldn't like it because there's too many things that can go wrong.
So you are a fan of the DH, is what you're saying?
No.
Because they're playing the NL style in an AL park. And you'd say you don't want your pitcher hitting. So you are a fan of the designated hitter.
Oh, my, you're confusing me right now.
You are a fan of the DH. That is what you're saying.
I don't want him. No.
So if you had the chance to not bat Adam Wainwright,
stop. Now I'm caught up.
You would want to.
That Mike and Ike I just had kind of finally caught up with me. It gave me a head rush. No, I hate the DH. I don't hate the DH.
Then why wouldn't you love Bumgarner hitting?
Because he could get. I mean, he doesn't have to. Is the point? He doesn't have to hit tonight.
So you prefer the DH because then he doesn't have to hit.
But I like it in the NL. All right, that's not fair. This isn't fair.
I got you.
This isn't fair.
I got you.
No.
Checkmate.
No, I do not. If you don't have to, I wouldn't have him hitting. What if he gets hurt tonight?
Well, what if Wainwright gets hurt next start?
I know. Well, that's part of it because that's how you play it in the NL. But if you got hurt on the AL, that coach Bochy, he's gonna hear all about this
because the Giants are really banged up. They don't have a really good bench, and Bumgarner can hit. Not great. He's great for a pitcher, but not great. But hey, I mean, he does it every other start anyway. So
he hits. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
A 708 texter. If you could add 2 schools to the Big Ten, who would you add right now?
Minus Notre Dame.
Minus Notre Dame.
Okay.
Probably minus Texas as well.
Oh, I was going to go Texas. If I could,
I don't know if I want Texas.
I think Missouri. I would add Missouri. I think that'd be great for Illinois. That'd give you a natural rivalry right in there. Besides Northwestern, who would be another one that I would add?
Yeah, and this is just for you. Based on, we don't have to go they got to be strong academically.
Right. No, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I think Brendan Dorzinski, our intern, goes to Kansas. Kansas makes a lot of sense.
You know what? That's perfect.
With Iowa, with Nebraska.
That's perfect. Yeah, because it would give Iowa and Nebraska.
It's a bad football conference. I get it. They don't add really a market that you want.
No, they don't.
But I think Missouri, Kansas would make sense.
And those two hate each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's perfect. Those are the two. Yeah, that's it. Boom. We just nailed
it.
It
still feels Midwestern.
Yes.
I still kind of like the Midwest Conference.
Mm-hmm. Boy, I struggled on the Bumgarner one, but we nailed that one. We stinking nailed that one.
Yeah, I think those, especially with Nebraska in the conference.
Yes.
Somebody said Jeremiah Tillman. Just that topic.
Just
Jeremiah Tillman.
Just coming off injury, big guy. You could use him. Top 25 recruit. I'll take him.
Yeah.
That's my thought on that.
This is a 5-star recruitment.
It's huge.
I think it was good that he was on campus.
Yes.
I don't think you go crazy with that. But I think Illinois has led for a while in that recruitment.
Okay.
I don't know if they lead now. I mean, it doesn't really matter, these terms we use, until they sign the dotted line, right?
Correct.
I think Kansas is the one you worry about.
Okay.
North Carolina's in there. You worry about them a little bit. Michigan State's involved, but I don't know if they're as involved. I think Illinois can still win that recruitment over Michigan State. for me, it's you've been struggling to get the Kansases of the world.
Okay.
I think, distance matters for his mom from East St. Louis, and I think that helps Illinois. I think the relationship has helped Illinois. I think Illinois has made it obvious that they are the one who has been prioritizing him from the start.
Day one.
While in North Carolina and Kansas, they're getting involved. John Calipari's visited, but have they made him a priority? No.
Right.
But it's easy to go elsewhere.
Amen.
It's hard to pick Illinois.
It really
when you're
is.
that guy right now.
It really is.
And if Jeremiah does it, people will love him.
Yep.
He will be a state hero. What they sell here is that if you go to Illinois, you'll have connections for life.
Yeah.
If you do well at Illinois, fans will adore you forever, and all of that. But a lot of these kids want to make the NBA.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
Illinois has had one draft pick in the last 10 years.
doubt.
While you go to Kansas, and since that 10 years, they have about 10 big guys in the pros.
And that's huge. The one thing that I would love about that recruitment is for Jordan Goodwin to say yes now or before, and then see what that does for Jeremiah Tillman. I think that no doubt helps.
I think
with
Jeremiah
regards to
Tillman committing would help with Jordan Goodwin, too.
I think that dare I say would be a no-brainer if Tillman committed. I think Goodwin would be automatic. I would like it to see the other way. I'd love to see Goodwin commit and then see what that does to Tillman, because I'm sure Tillman wants to know who else is going to be with us. Well, I'm sure. I know he does.
Great text from 708. Would you rather have Clayton Kershaw on your baseball team or Aaron Rodgers on your football team?
Oh, wow.
Rodgers.
Give me Rodgers.
Give
me Rodgers.
I love Kershaw. It's every 5 days. I get Rodgers every game.
Yep. No, Aaron Rodgers. Surprisingly,
It's a Hall of Fame.
that's not even close. I love the question, but yeah.
Right. No, I think it's a great question, but a starting pitcher has only so much control every 5 games. And even then, he's got a little bit of control, but not a lot. A football quarterback has so much control over a season, over a team.
And even if you condense it to a playoff where maybe you're going a best of 5 series, a starting pitcher like Kershaw could matter in 2 games, 2 of those 5, 40%, or in a 7 game, he could throw 3 out of 7. So that helps the argument for Kershaw, but still, give me Aaron Rodgers, yes.
All right, Jeremy, convince me Illinois is going to go 7-5. Juan, tell me why Illinois will go 5-7 or worse.
Oh no!
Should we switch?
I was going to say I'm always the optimist.
All right, go optimism here, Juan. I'll let you go 7-5.
I don't have the schedule in front of me, but there are winnable games. There are very winnable games, especially at home.
Yep.
And I think that's the key. Now, I'm not saying that because they're playing at Memorial Stadium, Illinois is automatic to win this thing, but you've got the Lovey factor, I think, a little bit with regards to, I think there will be better coaching. Let's be honest. If there's not, I'm going to be really shocked. But you've got guys like Hardy Nickerson, Garrick McGee, and, of course, Lovey Smith and Mike Farron. These guys have all done a great job. I think they're going to do a great job. And you have winnable games at home. And I think the key one is North Carolina. I think if you win that one, you've got a legit shot of going 7-5.
Why they could go 5-7 or worse is the offense.
Okay.
Wes Hunt, I think, is really talented, but he can't carry a team.
No.
Keyshawn Vaughn is really good, but he might have 350 touches this year.
Absolutely.
Which concerns me because you have no depth behind him whatsoever.
None.
I mean, you're changing linebackers to running back right now just to have a little bit of depth.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Your offensive line, I like them as pass blockers. This is a run-blocking offense, which I like. It's run to set up the pass as opposed to pass to set up the run.
Sure.
But I don't think your offensive line is physical enough.
Fair enough.
Your receivers, I like Malik Turner. Everyone's counting a lot on Justin Hardy, it seems like.
Okay.
Because you lost Mikey Dudek
Yes,
again.
you did.
And you saw last year how much Mikey Dudek mattered, and 60 drop catches matters.
You could have started with just no Mikey Dudek,
Right.
and that's why they go 5-7.
Special teams, big concern for me. Secondary, a bit of a concern.
True.
Linebacker, I like just overall depth.
Yes.
I think that's been a key for the last couple of years and why Illinois hasn't made a lot of bowl games. I'll ask you.
I think defensive line is another reason why you go 7-5. I
Right,
think
that's
Illinois.
a huge point.
Yeah,
I think front seven.
Yeah, front 7. I think legitimately you stop the run a lot better than what we've seen the last few years.
I think it's not a question for me. You have a top 10 defense in the Big Ten, which people will say, well, that's not great. When you got 14 teams, well, usually you got top 30 defenses in the Big Ten.
Exactly.
I think it could be a top half offense or defensive line. I think the linebackers with Hardy Nickerson got so much better.
Yep.
James Crawford, I think, could have a good year. Julian Jones could have a good year as well.
We need one of those corners. We need one of those guys in that
if your
secondary
defensive line's
good.
If you get a pass rush,
Yeah, that's
I think
huge.
you'll be fine.
That's
Jalen
huge.
Dunlap, I think, is a guy who could be pretty good. Taylor Barton's a solid guy. Do you think they're closer to 7-5 or 5-7?
I think they're closer to 7-5 this year. I really do.
I think they're closer to 5-7.
Are you?
I'm really concerned about that offense.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would be upset. I would be disappointed, not upset. I'd be upset probably. I'd be disappointed because you've got a senior quarterback. You've got a legit running back. I get it with the depth. I get it if Keyshawn goes down, you're in deep trouble there. But you've got a legitimate guy that can run for 1,000. You've got a senior quarterback. You've got guys like Hardy and Caleb Day that, you know what, it's your time. It's your time to show up because you haven't yet. I mean, those guys are the ones that could really make a difference for this team. And you've got a defensive front seven that I think will contain running games. And that's the one thing, what was it, like 2-3 years ago, where 7 guys ran for 200 yards, or maybe not that many.
They did last year, too.
And they did last year. So I think that would make a big difference if finally you get Big Ten teams in 3rd and long situations instead of 3rd and 1. That makes a huge difference.
Ryan Asquan, 7-game series at the Farm between the 01 and 05 Illini basketball teams. Who wins? 7-game series.
Remind me of the 01.
Well, Frank Williams.
Oh, okay.
Sean Harrington, Robert Archibald.
I love those guys. Love those guys to death. But the 05 team wins that one. The 05 team wins that one. I'm with you now on the 01 because you had Frank Demir.
Frank, Marcus Griffin, Brian Cook, Corey Bradford, Serge, Archibald, Harrington, Lucas Johnson.
Boy, that's a good team.
That's an interesting matchup.
That's a stinking great team.
You got a tough team.
You're bigger on that one.
Yes, you're bigger, tougher, stronger. 04-05 was the most skilled Illinois basketball team we've ever seen.
I'm still going 04-05.
I think in 6 games.
Yes, and I think because ball movement, guards make such a difference.
That's a good series, though.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That's a great question.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Thunder Warriors.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I loved those guys, too. Corey?
Derek says, Cubs, can't get enough. They're good.
Stink it.
They're really good.
They're really good.
And they're going to get a good reliever, and they're going to make the playoffs. Yep. They're going to win 100-something games. And then it all comes down to who pitches well.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see how you do. It'll be interesting to see kind of if Arrieta, and this is funny to even say, if he can shake off this late last few start struggle.
What are you doing 3.5 ERA in a month
when he's given up 4 hits a game. It'll be interesting if he gets back, and the way Lester's pitching and the way that entire pitching staff is throwing. I know Lackey had a little bit of a hiccup, but yeah, man, that team is loaded.
Which Illini coach would you like to have to dinner with?
Mike Small. Mike Small. I would just love to, and I don't even know if I'd ask Mike about golf. And I think I'd just ask him about everything sports related with regards to the university.
I think Mike, he'd be the most candid, I think.
Right.
Well, he's candid with us here on this show. Yes, he's honest all the time.
Mike
Spring's a fun dude.
Right. Mike Small, it's out there, man. If you want to have dinner
with Tay and J.
Of course, you can pay.
Yeah.
You know, your pay status is a little bit better than mine.
217 texter. If you're a big-time athlete, what company would you pick as a personal sponsor? Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, etc.
Ooh, I'm still going Nike.
Whoever gives me the most money.
Okay. Good answer.
Unless Nike's really close to the rest because they have the best products.
Yes. Yeah. I know Under Armour's making a huge what they've done in the last 10 years or whatever, it's amazing how much they are out there in front of everybody, but not in front of Nike, let's say, but just how they're out there and present. But Nike is still Nike.
Cody, hockey. Let's talk hard salary caps and NHL free agency. How about it? What a day for hockey. They got drunk yesterday.
They did.
Huh?
They totally did. It's weird. And free agency starts tomorrow.
Yeah,
I still haven't figured it out.
Have you've not figured out the big trade that went down yesterday?
No, I think it may have to do with some stuff that I'm not comfortable talking about. So but it's just, I haven't figured that one out.
Okay.
I don't want to talk.
How about the Blues?
Okay.
What are they doing in free agency?
You and I just talked about it off the air. David Backus, it's going to be a big decision, and if something doesn't happen tonight, David Backus at 11 a.m. tomorrow is going to be courted heavy. And I don't think Blues fans, me included, appreciate what David Backus does.
Okay, we always talk about the Bulls and Blues, how they're similar.
Yes.
Is David Backus your Joakim Noah?
Ooh, yeah.
Because Joakim's going to the Knicks, and I'm happy for him.
Okay.
But I'm not disappointed that he's leaving.
Fair enough.
Right? Joe's the heart of our team.
Correct.
He's a defensive wizard, right? He's everything we want in a player. He annoys everyone else.
Right.
But I'm just kind of ready for this era to end. I'm ready to get younger up front.
That's the thing. I want to get younger. I want to get quicker. More importantly, I want to get quicker. And then if we can get a little younger, that's great. Backus had a heck of a playoffs though. He's your captain, and that's tough to say. I told you if he leaves, I won't be necessarily upset, but I'll be sad.
Yes.
I'll be sad to
That's
see a guy
kind of
like
like how I am with
Mackinson.
Joe.
Yep.
Bulls Blues analogies just keep going.
It's terrible. I mean,
Bobby with a good question. Who will have a bigger year, Wes Lunt or Malcolm Hill?
Malcolm.
Yes.
Malcolm
I think
Hill.
it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I do too.
How about Keyshawn Vaughn or Malcolm Hill? Is that harder?
I don't think so.
I think that's a little harder for me.
Is it?
Yeah. Because I think Keyshawn's going to have a big year regardless.
It's still Malcolm,
I
though.
think Malcolm can be the Big Ten player.
I do, too.
Just Illinois needs to win.
Yes.
They'd have to win probably 10 or 12 games for him to really be in the conversation, which I don't think is impossible. But I think he can have, Denzel Valentine put up huge numbers.
Right.
Valentine's probably a better pro prospect. He's a better shooter, better passer. But Malcolm can have that statistical kind of year.
Did you like my tweet to you yesterday when they showed Denzel on the White Sox hat backwards?
Yeah, his hat backwards.
I'm like, nice class, Jay Warren. And then one of my buddies from college, Gary Kern's like, hey, I remember you doing that at age 20. I'm like, Gary, you didn't hear the show. You don't understand what we were talking about.
We have another good question.
I've got an itch in my nose, and it's driving me nuts. I bet people watching on the podcast think I'm picking my... No, I don't. It's right on the outside.
We got a good question on the 217. Tell us the origin of the Tay and J Show.
Ooh.
We'll do that when we come back.
I just did Van from I just did that. We'll do that next. It's the Tay and J Show.
It's getting hot out there, and Chief Bauer Service Experts reminds you to tune up your home's air conditioning system before you need it most. Because if that system fails and you get hot, you may think about going to weird lengths to cool off, like napping with your head in the freezer or building a pool in the living room. Help prevent breakdowns and call Chief Bauer Service Experts for $41 off a precision tune-up. Regularly $120, now only $79. You'll also save up to 30% on energy bills and keep your system running at its best all year long. Call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com.
Hey, Cardinal fans, make sure you make your way to Busch Stadium in St. Louis, July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The Cardinals take on the Milwaukee Brewers and the Pittsburgh Pirates, and those games are loaded with great promotions. Friday, July 1st, it's the Replica 1926 World Series Championship Ring Giveaway, presented by Edward Jones. Stay in your seat, it's a Cooper Tires Fireworks Night. Saturday, July 2nd, the Adult Replica Matt Carpenter Batting Practice Jersey, presented by Ford. On Sunday, July 3rd, it's the Cardinals Cooler Backpack, presented by Coca-Cola. And on Monday, the 4th of July, when the Pirates are in town, it's the Cardinals Pillbox Baseball Cap. That's all coming up July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The 1926 World Series Championship Ring, a Fireworks Night, the Adult Replica Matt Carpenter Batting Practice Jersey, a Cardinals Cooler Backpack, and the Cardinals Pillbox Baseball Cap. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Experience what makes Eastland Suites the best.
Like options for families, including the biggest indoor pool in the area, arcade and Sarisa pizza pies in the lobby.
Families that stay with us also love the free Wi-Fi to keep the kids entertained and the fitness center to keep us parents in shape.
And Tanya, don't forget we have meeting space available for social events. Oh, and being right off the interstate. Complimentary hot breakfast each morning and...
Experience the best. Experience Eastland Suites. Book online at eastlandsuitesurbana.com.
The Snyder Company.
When you're heading home, Tay and Jay are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Hey, insurance isn't the most exciting thing to buy, but we sure need it. And when an accident happens, you'll be taken care of when you work with the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency in Urbana. They provide all major lines of insurance and financial products, too. They work with people all over Central Illinois, just like you and me, and they'll design a personalized plan that will cover all your insurance and financial needs. Call the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency at 344-1900. That's the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency at 344-1900.
All right, the listeners have taken over the Tay and J Show, and I love it. I love this. Kind of letting you pick the topic, and that was a fun little segment there, and we're going to continue it, I believe. And it must be a funny one coming up.
Top 10 favorite beers, top 10 porn stars.
Ronnie Jeremy, come on down. Come on down, Ronnie. Johnny Holmes.
What is the one team in any sport that needs a rebranding and or new logo?
Is that weird that I went with a guy?
Yes, I thought it was.
Okay, I'm sorry. Here we go again, live for the second day in a row.
Jaguars?
Making an idiot. What was it again?
Who needs a rebranding
I was thinking beer there.
Jaguars?
Yeah, I don't like their uniforms.
They just came in the teal rush.
Yeah, totally.
I
do not.
Teal is not
Carolina.
Yeah.
Both of those teams came in that era. I mean, Carolina's not horrible.
The Charlotte Hornets were kind of in that.
Yeah, Jacksonville for sure.
Memphis Grizzlies were in on that. I think the Jaguars. Sorry, Cliff. Your Jags need a new look.
Right.
I don't know what color scheme you go with.
I mean, if their owner could afford it.
That's true.
Shad.
Okay, 217 texter. Tell us the origin of the Tay and J Show. Lon, it started with you.
It did. I got a call randomly at the Hillard Agency. We service all your... No, I'm kidding. Stevie J called me, and I'm like, hi, what do you want? Yeah. And so we started talking, and he said, I want you to do a sports show for me. And I thought he wanted me to be the Dave Lone, where right. Dave, when Stevie was at DWS, that he would always be in the
updates.
Sports, the update guy. So I'm like, well, I could probably do that and still work. And then it manufactured more to, no, I want you to do a sports show in the afternoon. So I told Stevie no 3 times, and he just kept hammering me. And he's like, we're going to get the Cardinals, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, if you get me somebody to do it with me, because I'm not talking 3 hours every day alone, I said, then I'm good to go. And then
What convinced you of that?
I mean, it's my first love.
Yeah.
It's my first love to do this kind of stuff. I'd always done TV, did radio in college. So I kind of I was intrigued, and I called a mentor of mine, Mike Reese, and I said, well, what do you think? And he's like, I always knew you'd do this. I'm like, really? And he said, but the money's got to be right, because after a year, it's going to be a job.
Sure.
And he added a few other things in there that was funny. But so then we went.
It's a grind. It's a grind. It's a grind to do this, especially with you and I,
and you
both having other gigs.
Absolutely. And you do so much more on this show than I do with regards to getting guests, thinking up questions, just research. It's not even close. But then I said we were given no's by a few people that I was just trying. I didn't know you then,
right?
So we were trying to think. All right, who
23-year-old nobody?
Right. I mean, I knew of you. I had I'd read your stuff sometimes in the News Gazette, but I didn't know you. So we had asked a few people, and they couldn't do it. And I'm like, I was getting nervous. We were within probably 3 weeks of debuting, and we still didn't have you.
Yeah. So I got a random call. I was covering NIU up in DeKalb, making no money,
none.
But I of course did the recruiting blog for Illini HQ, worked at this small Paxton newspaper up in Paxton, and it was kind of paying your dues. You do these jobs, you work your way up. I got a D1 beat, and I was thinking next job could be the News Gazette or something like that.
Absolutely.
And then Stevie J, who I knew because I'd been on Steve Kelly's show for radio and stuff like that, but I'd never met Stevie J, calls me up and goes, hey, I hear you want to move back to Champaign.
I can hear him saying it.
And I was like, I just moved from Champaign 4 months ago. I don't think my fiance would want to move back. And I was like, I've always wanted to do radio, but I think this is early. I don't know if I'm ready for it. And then I talked with my wife, and I was intrigued by it. Mm-hmm. And then I get a call from Juan Tay.
Well, I Facebooked you.
Who I thought was black. I'm not going to.
No, that's fine.
I thought you were black.
That's totally fine. Because I Facebooked you first, I think. I sent you a random message and said, call my office.
And Stevie told me not to call you, but I'm going to call you.
I did.
If you didn't call me, I probably wouldn't have taken
Isn't that
job.
funny? So take that, Stevie. Yeah, because Stevie said, don't call him. Yes. Let me handle it. But I Facebooked you and said, before you make a decision, yes or no, call me.
Yes.
And we talked for what, an hour and 20?
Hour and a half. And I keep telling people I talked for about 10, 15 minutes of it, which I don't think anybody would be surprised. But I go, I could do this.
Yes.
Because you got to have that right person. And I think right away we kind of meld with each other really well.
Heartbeat.
We complement each other really well.
Yes.
We actually like each other.
Right.
For the most part.
We're friends.
Now, we've had some ups and downs on the show, especially early. Some bad shows there that I'm glad are not anywhere.
Yes. You're right. Those are not podcasts.
But the last day I was in DeKalb, I was getting ready to move, and Jerry Kill moves on to Minnesota.
Wow.
So I had to cover that night and the next day, and I drove to Champaign and did the show that day.
That's crazy.
So I didn't get a day off or anything.
That's crazy.
And we start that show, but it was solidified at the Bloomington Normal Steak and Shake where I met Stevie.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that part of it.
So met Stevie to Steak and Shake. We shook on it, and that's how the show started. It's going to be 6 years ago.
6 years in November. I do remember telling you this. I said, Jeremy, I'm going to be as honest as I can be. I am co-owner of a business. If this show flops, I'm fine. You are giving up your dream of journalism, and I don't know what would happen. And I wouldn't want you to hate me or Stevie.
Sometimes you got to take chances.
Amen.
And radio has turned into a fun career for me. But I always told you guys, like, writing was my first love, and it's been amazing that I've been able to do both of them. And we've obviously grown the show, but now spitting off and doing my own thing with Scout,
awesome.
It's worked out, and sometimes you got to take chances like that.
You know,
everybody kind of has these career plans of what they want to do in the media business. In this media business,
no,
you got to be able to.
You got to be versatile.
Versatile.
Talk about
and
it.
do a little bit of everything. And I've always tried to keep my mind open to that.
Well, and we appreciate how our show has grown, and it's all because of our listeners.
Yes.
I know there's days where you hate either one of us, and I'm sure there's people out there that are like, God,
Prefer
every time
one to the
Lon
other.
talks, I puke. But you know what? I hope we entertain you. I hope we have fun for 3 hours. But today it's 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, you guys, for another 10, 15 minutes. We'll give our best, as we always do.
As we always do. It's the Tay and J Show.
Hi, it's Corey with Max Twin City Recycling. We pride ourselves on giving the area an outlet to recycle and get paid for their unwanted metals. We're taking our community focus a step further with our Recycling for a Cause program. Each month, Max Twin City will choose a different local charity to feature in an effort to raise money for those causes. Visit maxrecycling.com for a complete list of program details.
This Mettler Fitness Tip is brought to you by the Mettler Center, located at Windsor and Duncan in Champaign.
Learn delicious ways to cook healthy foods. Gradually cut down on fat, sugar, and salt in your usual recipes, and watch how your taste buds adapt to appreciate the natural taste of foods. Use citrus juices, herbs, spices, oils, and vinegars to add amazing new zest to your food, while you reduce your reliance on fat, sugar, and salt.
If you need quick advice on a fitness topic, go to MettlerCenter.com and click on Ask an Expert.
Hey Siri, where's the best place to build a home in central Illinois?
Think Urbana.
Think Urbana?
If you're thinking about building, you need to think Urbana.
Thinking about building a new home? Think Urbana and save up to 60% off property taxes on your new home in the first 5 years. When you build in Urbana, you'll also be paying 0 sales tax on construction materials, and it's easy to qualify. Go to thinkurbana.com for details. Think Urbana is made possible by a collaboration between our local school district, city, county, park district, CUMTD, and Cunningham Township. That's thinkurbana.com.
None of us can predict the future, but that doesn't mean we can't prepare for it. How will your family survive when you're gone? And how do you know if you have enough life insurance? Beacon Insurance makes it easy with their convenient life insurance calculator. Visit www.beaconinsurance.com/life calculator. Then talk to your local independent Beacon Insurance agency about a life insurance policy that will give you peace of mind and keep your family financially stable in the future. Life insurance from Beacon Insurance always goes beyond the expected.
Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Justice to investigate a private meeting between former President Bill Clinton and Attorney General Loretta Lynch. It happened aboard a private plane at an airport in Phoenix, while his wife Hillary is still under investigation for using her own email server while Secretary of State. The White House is standing by Lynch.
She certainly understands that investigations should be conducted free of political interference and consistent with the facts. Investigators should be guided by the facts and by evidence, and that's ultimately what should support their conclusions.
Spokesman Josh Earnest. Lynch says there was no mention of any investigations involving the Clintons during her meeting with the former president. A bill to help Puerto Rico deal with a $70 billion debt is signed by President Obama.
You've seen hospitals unable to operate, ambulances shutting down, basic services shutting down, and government workers not being paid. It has brought enormous hardship to Puerto Rico.
The president also saying millions of Americans in Puerto Rico are affected by the fiscal crisis there. A military barrier is lifted and transgender individuals will be allowed to serve openly.
Because it's the right thing to do, and it's another step in ensuring that we continue to recruit and retain the most qualified people. And good people are the key to the best military in the world.
Defense Secretary Ash Carter, the head of the House Armed Services Committee, Republican Mac Thornberry of Texas, calling it another example of the administration putting politics over policy. Stocks rally a third day in a row, the Dow climbing 235 points. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
QL1, this is Control, checking in to see how excited you are for launch. Over?
Well, actually, Control, I'm kind of bored.
I think you cut out, QL1. It sounded like you said you were bored.
That's affirmative, Control.
You're about to travel 17,000 miles per hour through Earth's atmosphere, and you're bored?
It just doesn't sound that exciting after using Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. I was able to get a completely online custom mortgage approval in minutes.
All right, you cut out for sure this time. Did you say I can get a mortgage approval in minutes?
That's right, Control. Minutes. Whether you're purchasing a new house or refinancing your existing home, Rocket Mortgage securely pulls your pay stubs and bank statements to build you a custom mortgage solution so you get exactly what you want.
Wow, that is exciting.
Yep, definitely better than months of dehydrated ice cream and powdered orange drink.
3, 2, 1.
Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button, get mortgage.
Rocket.
Visit for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Police round up more than a dozen possible terror suspects in connection with Tuesday's airport attack.
They also say that they found numerous firearms, they found numerous weapons, and also documentation linking this attack, again, to ISIS, putting it all together. Now, no specific group, as we know, has claimed responsibility at this point, but Turkish officials, including the Prime Minister, maintain that this all goes back to ISIS.
Fox's John Huddy. If you're traveling this holiday weekend,
the American public should expect to see this July 4th weekend an enhanced security presence at airports, train stations, and other transit centers across the country.
Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson telling a Senate hearing the extra security shouldn't cause longer lines at checkpoints.
We have reprogrammed funds to convert a number of TSOs from part-time to full-time, to expedite the hiring of additional TSAs and additional TSA officers.
Johnson says most airline travelers are now experiencing wait times of 15 to 30 minutes. More Americans aren't finding work.
The number of Americans filing for unemployment benefits increased last week, though the 10,000 increase in new claims to 268,000 is still within the range of a healthy labor market. Economists believe job growth picked up recently, but there are concerns Britain's vote to leave the European Union could make companies cautious about hiring. The June employment report will be released on July 8th. Ginny Cosola, Fox News.
A warning for drivers of older Hondas and Acuras. New government data finds Takata airbag inflators on 2001 to 2003 models are extremely dangerous. You're advised to stop driving them and get them repaired. I'm Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Sir, pull over. Your car is not safe. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast. This is where I just ignore it. Brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at Chief Bauer.
We're not friends anymore.
Tonight, possible thunderstorms. That's .com, by the way. Low of 63. Friday, mostly sunny. High 78. Low of 53. Saturday, mostly sunny. High 77. Low of 56. Right now, mostly cloudy. 76 in Champaign-Urbana.
You feel like dancing? Because this is what I do on a dance floor.
No drive time today, but this segment brought to you by Honda BMW Champaign. For new and used vehicles, stop by Honda BMW Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash and Savoy, or visit online at drivechampagne.com.
Who's the dude in the middle of the dance floor just snapping his fingers? Somebody go help him. That's what people say when I dance.
Yeah, but that's like a go-to. You can't look bad doing it.
I know, I do. That's what I do. And then I try to make fun of other people dancing. Yeah, I'm like if I'm dancing with somebody.
You're too cool for dancing?
No, I'm so bad. I'm deflecting it. So I'll look at other people. I'll look at other guys. I'll be like, look what that dude's doing.
Look at that idiot over there.
Let's do that. Let's do that and just make fun of him.
Just get a few beers in me and I'll tear it up.
That does help. It doesn't help your mobility or flexibility. Maybe a little. It just helps the fact that your mind is not sitting there thinking, I'm making a fool of myself in front of everybody. Before you dig into sports here, what are you doing this weekend? Anything exciting?
We were talking, I got a wedding that I'm going to on Saturday up in the city. We're talking about possibly going to a White Sox game on Monday for July 4th because we'll be off our show.
Cool. That'd be cool.
But tonight I have a newborn class.
What does that mean?
I think we learn how to swaddle.
Oh, that's huge.
Change diapers.
Oh.
how to lay them to sleep, just how to basically keep the kid alive. Right? I mean, that's our number one job. Is to keep a kid alive.
Part 5 of tonight's
and you know
show
what?
is keep the kid alive.
I'll be really interested tonight because I don't know how to keep a kid alive.
Well, that's important.
That's good.
That's very important to keep that little human thing. We didn't have that back in my day.
Did you read a book?
No. I just figured out I'm just like, Gene, what do I do? I have no idea what to do at this point.
I've read a bunch of books, but yeah, actually having like a nurse there to teach us stuff, that'd be helpful.
How do you think your cats are going to do with
It's going to be interesting.
Right.
I think one of them won't care. I think the other one will hide for about a month. Right. So that'll be interesting.
Don't let that one out of the house.
Right.
Because they won't come back. Yeah. We had Griff, our rat terrier. Now you can imagine rat terriers are so hyperactive anyway. We worried about this and we had a moment. We said we didn't want anybody at our house. First time we came home, we wanted a moment with Griff to figure out. So Gene and I went in.
Don't you take a blanket to him? Like you usually take the blanket that the newborn's in and you let the dog or cat smell it.
That's probably a good idea, but I don't know if we did that. Maybe Gene, I don't know. But we walked in and sat down and Gene was holding Lucas and Griff came in. We were on the couch. He did, I want to say 20 laps around our house. Nervous as can be, jumping up on the couch, on the top of the couch, and down on the other, and just went.
Yeah.
And he finally just kind of calmed down, and we're like, "Come here, Griff." So we smelled him a while and everything, and then he was
usually.
fine.
I think it seems like the pets are smarter than we think.
Agree.
And most of them are pretty gentle.
Yes, yeah. And I think Griff understood immediately what that kid or whatever that blob was meant to us.
Right.
So I think he understood that. Okay, I better not hurt that. Well, and dogs like Griff, we'd give him like a chew toy and he'd tear. He's a rat terrier. Right. They're used to killing rats.
Right.
So he'd take a chew toy and just like shake it and everything. I'm like, I hope he doesn't want to do that with Lucas.
Yeah.
But he didn't, to his credit.
So do you have like a newborn advice for me? I mean, we're getting to like 6 weeks here.
No.
Due date is August 11th. It's almost July.
My advice to you is sleep when you can. Right?
Sleep
I know
when
that's
he sleeps, right?
so obvious, but yes. And if Tiff lays down with him and he falls asleep, just try to sleep.
Yeah.
That's all I would say. Just try, even if it's going to throw off your sleeping pattern,
Who's
just try to sleep.
Better sleeper, Lucas or Andrew?
They both were horrible. I'm not kidding you.
I was the good sleeper. My brother was colicky.
See, everybody has, when I talk to people that have 2 or more kids, they always say, well, my son did this or my daughter was the good. I'm like, we didn't have either one of them.
Neither one was good.
They were up all night. No, neither one I don't think was the better sleeper.
So what did you do when they were up crying? And you had to console?
Well, first of all, I just sat there and said, why did we have this kid? Why did we decide to do
under
this?
how many moments you had with it?
Oh, you get so... You never obviously ever even attempt to injure a child, but you sit there sometimes like, oh, shut up! You just sit there in bed and you're like, why won't he just go to sleep?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are those moments, and there are moments, I think, unless Gina and I were different from everybody, you look at her and you know she's at wit's end.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
And you got to take your turn.
And you just have to take your turn.
The sword.
Yes, that's exactly right.
See, I'm much better with no sleep.
So Tiff's going to need her sleep.
Yes. But she's the one who's got to feed him.
Right, I know.
I know he can pump at some point.
Yeah, but
the first couple of weeks, you can't really do that.
Once again, Tiff, she's doing everything.
Yeah.
What we had, I remember this, Jean would go, she worked early on, and what I would do, we had these things called Beethoven, like music by Beethoven or some tape. It was a VHS tape, and I would put it in, and this would help me for an hour every morning. I'd put Lucas in this little bouncy, vibrating chair, and I would lay down on the couch, and I'd put that, whatever it was, Beethoven, and all it was just a bunch of figures, like hands moving things around, and you'd hear Beethoven and Mozart, and it was supposed to make them smart. I don't know if it worked. But I
seem to.
Well, yeah, right. I think with Lucas so far. But what I would do, I say that only because Andrew didn't have this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that bad, Andrew. But then I would sleep for an hour. But I can remember when the girl started, the lady that developed these, when she started talking at the end, that meant it was over. I used to hate her. She'd come on and say, these Beethoven. I'm like, oh no. So Lucas was always good enough to let me rewind it one time and play it again. But after the second one, then he was just sitting there. His legs were going. He's like, nah,
nice.
Get me out of here.
Well, I turned on there's a baby channel.
On
TV. I turned it on last night and they got like something that puts them to bed.
Right.
I didn't know this was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
I got to start used to Disney.
Yes.
Nickelodeon baby channels.
You need to find one
that's not
show.
Really annoying.
Right. Exactly. You need to find one show, like not Caillou. Don't ever watch Caillou. That's the most annoying thing in the history of the world. But you need to find something. I think we had the bear. What was it? The big brown bear back when Lucas was born. That wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So I could watch that one. But as long as they were quiet, I didn't care if like whatever was on.
Here's a couple baby things people have texted in if you want to at 359-2255. Watch out for projectile poop and try not to catch it as a reflex. Have you had that? Did you try to catch it?
I did not try to catch poop. I do recall, though, the pee, the stream.
Sean Harrington told me this. He had a boy first, and then he had a girl. And he said, it took me 3 months to figure out I don't need to have the shield cup. Yeah, I don't need the shield cup. It's not going to do anything.
Oh, no.
But yeah, the boy I know to cover up.
Yep.
The projectile poop will be something different.
And Andrew, it's either Andrew or Lucas.
The colors will be a topic of conversation for me for a while.
Oh, and they poop some of the weirdest colors early on. You're like, are you alive? Like, how are you doing this? And it's huge.
Right.
Like, what have you eaten
that
would even
putting in yourself?
What in the world? But I can recall like once in a while you'd put a brand new diaper on them and they would pee immediately. And you're just like, you know what? Do you know how much these diapers cost?
Sit in that diaper for a while.
Exactly. You're going to learn your lesson right now.
Mike texts in, you get to watch a lot of 2 a.m. Sports Center. That's all I can tell you.
That is the best text of the day.
And then a follow-up to the projectile poop. Seriously, 3 o'clock, no sleep, projectile poop. It's an issue. Happened to me twice.
Yeah.
I like the idea of catching it. Like, your idea is just to try and catch it. Like I might use something like a shield to try it, but like catch it with your hand? Like what's that going to do?
You can wash your hand if it gets on the carpet then, because some of it you don't want that.
Right.
You're going to be down there for a while trying to get that out.
I guess that's a reason.
I love the Sports Center one. That's so true. That is so true. You watch a lot of late night TV.
And now I have Netflix. I can watch that. I got my smartphone.
Yeah.
Late night tweeting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this ought to be interesting.
The hashtag late night tweets.
I'll have to stop following you for a while.
Jay Werner Scott.
The other thing, last thing, get a very comfortable car seat.
Yes.
Because when it got bad, and I mean when it got bad, and both of you were just about to the point of, we can't do this anymore.
Just get in the car.
Get rid of him. I would always take him out and just drive around, and Lucas and Andrew both fell asleep immediately.
Yeah.
So Gene could sleep for, let's say, an hour or two. It kills you with regards to your gas mileage and fuel, but just getting sleep, I don't care. I'd pay $1 million sometimes just to sleep.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun segment.
That was a fun segment. Talking baby projectile poop and stuff. More on the way later on with the Tay and J Show.
Bill just said, watch your food intake. Your workouts will decrease dramatically. That is true, too.
Probably true.
Good luck finding time.
Hey, thanks to our only guest today, Doctor of Physical Therapy, Jeff Schroeder. Thanks to everybody for the input, the topics, as well as the
fun
baby advice. Coming up next, you got Cardinals, Royals. Cardinals trying to split this series. Mike Leake, Chris Young. Also tonight, the Cubs at the Mets. John Lackey against Steven Matz. You can hear that on our sister station, Sunny 95.3. Tomorrow, we'll talk some White Sox with Dan Hayes, CSNChicago.com. And Chris Whitlock, Wish TV. We'll talk a little bit of Colts and maybe a little bit of Pacers, as they've had a big offseason as well.
And tomorrow's Friday, right?
That's right.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, go Cards. We'll see you tomorrow. Tay and J Show.
Law Enforcement Official of the Month brought to you by Dave's Firearms for all your shooting needs. Go to davesfirearms.com. U of I police officer Beth Weissel said her family was a little apprehensive when they heard that she wanted to be in police work.
My mom immediately was nervous and scared, and she said, where on earth would you ever get this idea? I said, well, it's awesome. Look what everybody does, and they help people, and they get out there, and good attitudes and teamwork.
The best part of what she does?
Honestly, the best part is getting involved in Special Olympics.
What touches your heart about Special Olympics?
You know, when you hear the athletes' stories, kids and they want to tell you their story. It's just incredible. And I know I went to school with some of the same athletes, and I wouldn't have known them walking through the halls.
Congratulations, U of I police officer Beth Weissel, for being the Stevie J Broadcasting Law Enforcement Official of the Month. Brought to you by Dave's Firearms. For all your shooting needs, go to davesfirearms.com.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $28 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino, and believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-613-7416. That's 1-800-613-7416. 1-800-613-7416. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW, and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range in Southwest Champaign offers something for golfers of all levels. The 9-hole executive course is great for anyone seeking a quick round of golf at an affordable price. Check out league nights, schedule a private outing, or your company's next team building event. Junior players can learn the game through camps while honing in on their skills in a fun environment. Relax after a round in the newly renovated clubhouse while catching up on golf tournaments or baseball on one of their 6 televisions. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range. Visit them at legendsofchampaign.com.
Hello, this is Shane Coulter of Country Arbors Nursery. Country Arbors Nursery is the area's largest seller of plants, mulch, and landscape rock, and right now we're having our biggest sale of the year. All spring annuals are 50% off. 4-inch coleus, petunia, and geraniums are just $1, and all perennials are 10% off. Maples, oaks, and tree service berries are 20% off. While others are clearing the shelves, we're restocking daily with more beautiful plants. And now they're all on sale and the best prices of the year. So come out to Country Arbors Nursery. We're in Urbana on Windsor Road. You can find out more information and directions at countryarbors.com.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW, and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com. Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
From Cardinals Nation Restaurant inside Ballpark Village, it's the Amarin pregame show. Chris Raby with you on the St. Louis Cardinals Radio Network as we get set for the 4th and final game of a split city series between the Cardinals and the Kansas City Royals. After a disappointing 12-inning loss last night that went deep into the evening, the Cardinals today will look to even the series up, get back to 4 games above 500, and start to remedy what has been so far a disappointing and perplexing record at Busch Stadium. Coming up on the Amarin pregame show, we'll talk about tonight's game. Mike Leake takes them out for the Cardinals, looking to bounce back after a tough start in Seattle against veteran Chris Young. We'll give you an update on a couple of injured Cardinals, including Stephen Piscotty and Aledmys Diaz. We'll head into the broadcast booth for the first word on tonight's game. We'll get the manager chat with Mike Shannon and Mike Matheny, hear from Mike Claiborne, and check in with Dan McLaughlin. All that and more as we get set for another edition of the I-70 series. But how did we get here? It's time for our Central Bank of St. Louis replay.
All right, here's another 2-2, and Gordon
Swings and misses on a changeup. Struck him out in the dirt. Wong is about as deep as you can get. Then he moves over into right center with a 2-strike count. And it's a slider, and it's a strike call. He's down looking. That's 2 Ks now for Martinez. Here's a ground ball to short. Diving play by the Cardinal shortstop, and the throw to first is too late. What a play. What a play by Garcia. Way behind the bag, dived. He threw to the Cardinal second baseman for the force out. It goes 6-4. And it's now Valquez with the runner at first base and 2 down.
Hosmer gets a good lead at first. A good lead at second for Escobar. The 1-1 pitch. Here it comes. Perez swings and pops it up. It's on the infield. Under it, Yadier Molina, the third baseman, calls him off, and Peralta makes the catch. Perez pops out, leaving 2 more runners on. That's 11 stranded by Kansas City.
And the 1-2 delivery for Jed Jerko. Here it is. Swing and a shot into center field. A base hit, and the time runs in scoring position. I mean, a broken bat line drive. And the Redbirds have the potential winning run on at first. Tying run at second base. Go ahead man at first. 2 outs. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a base hit to left field. Here comes the tying run. He's around third. Here comes the throw. Not made. We're tied 1-1. Peralta comes through to tie this one in the bottom of the 9th inning. Listen to this crowd. And the score is Garcia.
Oh, staring in for the sign. Just holding on to the baseball. Now he says yes, and from the belt. The pitch. A swing and a ground ball. And it goes off Carpenter's glove into center field. The Royals lead. On to third base, Gerard Dyson. 2 costly errors in the 10th inning, and the Royals are back in front. The pitch. A swing and a high fly ball. Deep center field. Back to the wall. It's a gunner. We're tied on a Stephen Piscotty home run. That's his 9th of the year. It's 2-2 in the bottom of the 10th.
I think it's just a good example of us fighting back. You know, it's something that we're going to continue to do, you know, all season long. And you don't always win them, but it's great to get that effort.
Here's the 2-2 delivery. Swing and a miss, throw it right by him. 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Steer, right throws. He delivers again. A swing and a miss. Got him on a changeup. He's fanned the first 2.
Manus with the sign from the stretch. Now the pitch. A swing and a fly ball down the right field line. Piscotty did not make the catch. It's a fair ball. Call the fair ball, and a run scores. Around second base. Here's Escobar taking a wide turn, and he stops. The 3